the children that are being affected by this. Think about the grandchildren that are being affected by this. Because ultimately, your decision is going to affect their future. Be brave, have the courage to say no. I know money is tempting, but money is not everything. It's not. These people's lives are everything. The people's lives that you are affecting are everything. How are you going to vote on this TIF district if you don't already have pre-development in mind? You do. Remember who you work for, the community. Right. And I've been a little frustrated about the setup here because you aren't looking at our faces when we're speaking to you. Thousands of people have signed against this TIF district. The countless letters that you have received and don't write back to. The hundreds of voices you have tried to silence by not giving it your all and showing up for the community. So please, listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Oh, sorry, I also, this doesn't work, so I'm not even going to pretend to use it. I also spoke at the last public hearing where there were only 2 members of council present, so I'm also going to read that again since you're all here. Hello, my name is Grace Bayer, and I do not want to be here. I have a full and wonderful and privileged life despite the short-sighted, reckless, and self-serving decisions made by elected officials and politicians at every single level of our government. I recognize, though, that we are all connected, and I am here in solidarity as a fellow human being. I am also here as a neighbor to a lot of people who will be suffering some very real and immediate consequences of the decisions that are made in these very chambers. I have sat here and listened to the good people of Rockford appeal to your hearts and your minds. They've used science, they've used data, they've read headlines and news reports. But I'm here to appeal to the thing that I believe you as politicians honor first and foremost. And that thing is your own self-interest. We'll start with the basics. Laying the groundwork for a hyperscaler data center and corporate neighbors of the hyperscaler data center will affect you all as well. Our elected officials, they're just like us. They need clean, drinkable water to survive. Their bodies are not immune to pollution. Their property values can also decline. They are vulnerable to a changing climate. To anyone paying attention, and probably most people on this side at the backs of our politicians, it has become abundantly clear that you don't actually want to deal with those pesky thoughts and opinions from your constituents. So here's what I'd like to ask you today. Do you think you'll hear from us less when our utility bills climb higher? Do you think that you will hear from us less when the water pressure in our homes drops off? less when visible toxins pour from our faucets? Do you think you'll hear from us less when there is around-the-clock noise and light pollution? Do you think you'll hear from all of us less when our wells are poisoned or run dry? Do you think you'll hear from us less when the electric company tells us we're on our own because they need to redirect their service delivery away from our homes and toward a hyperscaler data center like they just did in Lake Tahoe? This is the map for it today. As I talk to my friends and my family and my coworkers and my neighbors, and hell, even as I talk to strangers, they all have the same question in mind for all you politicians. And that question is, what is in it for you? Fuck you.
Hi. I can't say that I don't want to be here because I'm here every week anyway. It's very interesting. I would have to say that week after week, I kind of see that you guys will ask a lot of questions about social programs that I don't think anybody's standing up to protest. I understand it's not the same. It's not. There's logistics behind it, but you're arguing and putting it off and putting it off, and they're programs the community wants. So I'm not quite sure why you won't listen on this issue. We've heard from a couple of people on this issue who have been loud, and we haven't heard a whole lot from anybody else. We see the back of their heads every week. We don't see any sort of comment. It's exhausting. That's the part that's exhausting. Not showing up and making our voices heard because we know who listens. We pay attention and we know. So I don't get that part either. Another thing is that 10%, there's 10% of this that we're voting on, and as far as I'm concerned, that 10%, I feel bad for them because I understand, you want to keep that relationship. It's a great relationship, it brings the city of Rockford money, but if they were for Rockford, they would not want this data center. They would not want this TIF. They would work it out to where they would somehow be with the community that they are getting taxpayer funds from. Thank you.
I introduced myself before. A lot of comments are made about data centers. We're not doing data centers. I will say this from the environment perspective, okay? I can only act on what I've actually brought to your community. About 3 years ago, we built a building for Microsoft in one of our business parks. Has anyone heard of LEED? It's LEED environmental status. We built a LEED Platinum building, which is the highest standard environmentally pure building you can build for Microsoft. There are only 5 of them in the entire state of Illinois. That's who we are. And so when you talk in general about data centers and not annexing the property where we would like to build buildings like that for a company like Microsoft or Burner Foods, who's a staple in your community, every industrial job that we bring to your community provides 3 additional jobs in the area in terms of retail, doctors, service providers. The buildings will be built by union labor. All of our buildings are. So again, I'd like to separate what we're trying to accomplish here in Rockford for your concern about data centers. Okay?
The city to make that, to differentiate between that and ask them to say.
Well, I think that the annexation agreement tonight is about our property, not a data center property, if I'm right. So, and the buildings we build, I'll answer, can I answer questions?
No, sir, just please address
So-
that, yeah.
So I'm happy to answer questions after the meeting, before the meeting, or whatever. But from my perspective, we're building what I would consider to be a very Class A industrial building made of precast, meant to last a long time. Our buildings, when fully taxed, will be about $2 to $3 million a year in taxes. Not all that is coming back into TIF, which goes into public infrastructure, and maybe some incentives, but to bring the company here to hire people from the community, which in the buildings we've built here in Rockford, I've been investing here for 25 years. So I'm fairly familiar with the area. We've brought about 1,500 new jobs to the community in the buildings we've built. What?
Sir, no, just address. We can,
I can answer that question, please.
yeah, please address
Okay.
the center of the room.
Well, I'm happy to answer the question about tax incentives.
Sir, are your comments complete?
I can be done if you want me to be done.
You can continue to talk,
Okay,
but please just
The
address.
reason that we provide tax incentives through a TIF to companies is that it's a very competitive environment out there. This community of Rockford has lost many jobs to Wisconsin, in Beloit, it's lost many jobs to other areas in Iowa, and almost every one of the business parks I develop have some form of incentives through economic development to attract major corporations like a Microsoft, like a Burner, like a FedEx, to the community. Right now, this land is paying about $5,000 in taxes a year. When my buildings are built, they'll pay approximately $2 to $3 million a year. Those taxes go into the communities to support social services and other areas. Some go to the Senate. The majority of it over time will go to supporting services in the area. And that's the benefit to the community for pure, good quality industrial buildings, where many of you may work now. And that's the kind of buildings we build. And I really would appreciate the thought process that when you build a really good industrial building in an area, it lasts a long time, it provides a lot of jobs and benefits to the community. And we don't use a lot of water, we don't use typically a lot of power like a data center. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. I am personally available to answer any questions, anytime, anywhere, about the benefits of good industrial buildings being built in a community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Real quick, the annexation.
Yes, real quick, again, comments regarding a data center are not related to the purpose of the hearing. The annexation contains a provision that prohibits the establishment or operation of a data center on the public property.
Real
Thank
quick
you.
about the
Yeah.
annexation. Right. I lied. It's about the data center. You have a very condescending attitude, sir. The way you're snapping your gum. Why don't you spit it out? It's very condescending. If this data center gets built, the decision will haunt you like a specter everywhere you go. No, you'll feel no peace. The Walmart, your gym, we will remember your faces. We will hate you if you do this. It will destroy our town. It is a pivotal decision in our town. If you do it, there's no going back. You can't. We're not going to vote you in. You're saying we love millionaires and billionaires. You're hoping to get a piece of the pie. You want money. You want money. You want money. You all want money. Who knows who knows what kickbacks you're getting? Whose cousin is building the data center? Liars, all of you, in this crescent moon of lies. And I hope to God you don't build this. I hope to God.
I just have a question. I'm not actually sure if this is the right area to ask this or not, but my name's Karen Schwitters. Some of you know me. I vote in every single election. I do want to say that. I'm actually just asking about the feasibility study done by Fairgram in 2015 on this area that showed, it was a soils testing and evaluation that showed that it needed remarkable amounts of improvement to build any type of industry here. Are you all familiar with that study and the details of it and the cost that it said that it would take to make all of that land feasible to build on? No. All of you council members, are you familiar with the 2015 study by Fairgram?
They have senioritis.
No. Okay. Do you think that since this study was done in 2015 and to my knowledge has not been updated, that it might be prudent of you to review this study before you make a decision on a TIF or any industrial development or development of any kind in this district, because it is a 90-page document that outlines wetlands in that area, soil types, endangered species, water runoff, whether or not it can support certain types of infrastructure. It all seems very relevant. I would think that it would be a significant document for you to consider and look over. So I just wondered how many people were familiar with it. I can give you the docket name. March of 2015, project number 14-655.
I'm just saying that we shouldn't do nothing on greed. Greed, the Bible says that we have troubles because we outsmart ourselves. So we got to really look into this. Remember the West State when we had all those houses y'all tore down? The people ain't even got houses no more over there. It's all roads. And people had bought their houses and they were already paid for. And they could have had paid, my mother's house was paid for. She could have gave me wealth. So y'all got to think what you're doing because it hurts people. I don't understand this data center, so I'm not up here for this data center because I really don't understand. But because they chose you guys got to do what your heart really say, not what man say, but what your heart says. Because what your heart says is what God is going to make you pay for the rest of your life. So you better listen to Jesus Christ and not man, and don't let greed get in your mouth.
Any further comment from the public? Seeing none, I close the public hearing for the annexation agreement.
Good evening. Next, we'll go to petitions and communications. We have nothing under Planning and Development Committee, so we will go to Code and Regulation Committee, and we have Alderman Logan.
Petitions and communications. 3 items. Item number 1, memorandum from Scott Capavella, Planning and Zoning Manager regarding plat number 2 of the Rosewood subdivision, referred to the Regulation Committee. Item number 2 of 3, Traffic Commission's agenda for the meeting to be held on July 8th, 2026, and minutes from that meeting for consideration at the Code and Regulation Committee meeting on July 13th, 2026, referred to Code and Regulation Committee. And third and final item, item number 3, memorandum from Martin Bloom, Project Manager, Permits and Special Events regarding upcoming special events for Rock Yard Music Fest and Ramp River Run, referred to Code and Regulation Committee.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Finance and Personnel Committee and Alderman Frost.
Thank you. All these matters will be referred to the Finance and Personnel Committee. Number 1 is the memorandum from Jennifer Cacciapaglia regarding the acceptance of a Department of Justice Office on Violence Against Women grants to...
Can you speak up, please?
I'm speaking rather loudly. The Criminal Justice Response Program, fiscal year 25, in the amount of $500,000 for the project period of 36 months. Number 2 is a memorandum from Jennifer Cacciapaglia regarding the acceptance of the Illinois Attorney General Office Violent Crime Victims Assistance Grant Award. Number 3 is a memorandum from Joshua Persales regarding the proposed sale of city-owned property located at 218 Independence Avenue. Number 4 is a memorandum from Charlotte Haas regarding the consideration and approval of a plan of acquisition of 4100 East State Street by the Rockford Board of Library Trustees. And memorandum, number 5 is memorandum from Scott Saunders regarding a settlement agreement for 401 East State Street. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just remind council, as you are speaking, speak as loud as you can so folks can hear in this room. It can be difficult. Also, for those individuals who are still standing, we can't have you stand, so I'd ask that you either exit out that door so that you can listen to it that's being broadcast, but you can't stand inside council chambers at this time.
You just said, do you want to go outside and talk about this? You just
said that to my husband, so.
Frost. You said you want to go outside and talk about it?
Folks, let's have some order. Alderman Frost, let's focus on the center of this room. All right, we have public speakers this evening. I want to remind our public speakers, the microphone on my left, your right, is the one that will transmit and be able to be heard online. So please use that microphone if you are able to. Also want to remind our public speakers that you have 3 minutes to address the city council. At the close of that 3 minutes, I will ask that you close your comments and that you conclude. Our first public speaker this evening is Stephen McMaster. Mr. McMaster, do you mind if I wait 1 second and answer a question? Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. My agenda here and my agenda on the city website, they are a little bit different. Which one should I be working for?
So your agenda was updated around noon, so that would be usually with new petitions.
Thank you. Thank you. Forgive me. Thank you.
You're great. And Mr. McMaster, 3 minutes and you can begin. Thank you for your patience.
Absolutely. Kind of curious how we get notified of changes that are occurring right now. Can I see what the updated document is, or does the 48-hour agenda posting period mean nothing to you guys? No? Oh, cool. Anyway, that's all right. I appreciate you. I kind of want to touch on obviously the data center. That's why all of us have been here and have been here for weeks. You have seen these signs when there's no conversation regarding the data center or that area whatsoever. These people care, man. Like, very clearly, we're all here because we're passionate about our community. None of us are receiving a penny from this data center deal or from this TIF district or from any of this. Venture One, he stood up here and said that he really wants this TIF district to go through. Let's just take everybody at their word. Let's say that Monarch Energy is right. They're going to build a data center in that area of the TIF district. And let's say the mayor is right, and they're not going to get a single penny of tax increment financing from this TIF district. That dude who's up there, Venture One LLC, he's just got a check. If you approve this, he gets a check for $51 million. Starting right now. Like, if it doesn't go to the data center, it only goes to that other 10%. Like, that. I would love to have a conversation with you, Ms. Meeks. I would appreciate that to happen before you vote on the TIF district. Just for the record, the only people that I have heard talk positively about this TIF district are the gentleman set to receive $51 million at least, and Ryan LLC. Just if I go to Ryan LLC's website, because I know most of you missed this at the second public hearing, the main page starts with liberating our clients from the burden of being overtaxed, freeing their capital to invest, thrive, and grow. I don't want those people representing the will of us. Very clearly, they're more interested in big business succeeding than the populace. When we talk about things we can do with tax money, things we can do around this chamber, you have to understand that this is $51 million that we could provide to big business. Or perhaps we could use that money for programs like CCS or for the mobile food pantry. We do actually need things in the city of Rockford. We need you people to care about the things that we care about in the city of Rockford. When you communicate for over a year with Monarch Energy behind the scenes to figure out if maybe something can happen or maybe it can't, that's spending taxpayer dollars against the wishes of the taxpayers. I understand that there's some information that you don't want to share, some information that Monarch or whoever wants to keep close to the chest.
Thank you, Mr. McMaster. Your time's expired. Thank you. Our next public speaker this evening is Kathleen Monteleone. Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor McNamara and City Councilmen. My name is Kathleen Monteleone, and I represent the University of Illinois College of Medicine in Rockford. I also serve on the task force for food insecurity. Thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight. As a person's zip code should not determine their health outcomes, yet in our community, where people live often determines whether they have access to healthy foods that prevent disease and support healthy lives. When more than half of the adults in our area are living with at least one chronic health condition, access to healthy food is no longer just a social issue. It is a public health issue. In Winnebago County, 11 low-income census tracts are classified as food deserts. Many of these neighborhoods are also food swamps, where unhealthy food options greatly outnumber stores offering fresh, nutritious foods. As a result, for many residents, especially older adults and families with children, accessing fresh foods, vegetables, and other healthy foods remain a daily challenge. The health consequences are real. More than 53% of adults in our area are living with one chronic health condition or more, including diabetes, high blood pressure, and other diet-related illnesses. These conditions reduce quality of life, increase healthcare costs, and place a growing burden on families, healthcare providers, and our community. The mobile grocery store offers a practical, evidence-based solution. By bringing healthy foods directly into neighborhoods with limited access, it removes transportation barriers and helps residents make healthier choices. Research has shown that mobile grocery store programs can increase fruit and vegetable consumption and improve overall community health. What excites me most is this opportunity for partnership. As a member of the healthcare community, I am eager to work alongside the mobile grocery store to provide health screenings, health education, technical assistance for data collection when needed, and connections to community resources. Together, we can meet people where they are and address health challenges before they become a medical crisis. As you consider your decision tonight, I encourage you to think about the long-term impact. We can continue paying the costs of chronic disease after it occurs, or we can invest in prevention today. The mobile grocery store is more than a vehicle delivering food. It is a health intervention. It is an investment in a healthier families, healthier neighborhoods, and healthier Rockford. Healthy communities begin with healthy food. Tonight, if you have the opportunity to invest in both, please do. Because a person's zip code should
Thank you,
not
Ms.
determine their
Monteleone.
health outcomes. Your decision
Thank
to
you.
make that change.
Thank you. Our next public speaker this evening is Shelton Kay. Our next public speaker this evening is Shelton Kay.
Good evening. My name is Shelton Kay. I'm the Executive Director of the Rockford Regional Health Council. Before I start my talk on CCS, I would like to say that I'm also a member of the Food Insecurity Task Force and am also a major component of the mobile grocery store. My main part that I find the most intriguing about it is it's going to help us learn some of the needs of the community as it goes and finds out where the most need is, and we'll really have some proven data to say that this is where we may need to build another grocery store. But I'm here tonight to talk about CCS. I spent 30 years in social service here in Rockford, working at Crusader, dealing with the underserved, the homeless, people who are struggling in life. And I'll tell you, there are a few organizations that I always heard something positive about and was really told that had impacted someone's life, and that was CCS. They really have made a big difference in improving our community, improving other people's lives. And that's why I joined them as a board member. But in my role as executive director of the Rockford Regional Health Council, I have been involved with the Violence Prevention Coordinated Council, as well as the Gun Violence Safety Committee that NICNY and the League of Women Voters have put together. And in both of those situations, we have had incredibly active participation from the young people at CCS. They really feel a connection with our community. They would really like to help us grow, thrive, make an improvement, really do things to encourage the younger folks who are behind them, who are watching them through mentoring and just being out there in public. So I really believe that it is important for the city to fund this program because it's saying to these kids, your city supports you. Your city believes in what you're doing, encourages you to be a part of this, and to continue contributing. It's not because you're a victim of trauma. It's not because you're dealing with mental illness, which I'm sure a lot of these kids are. But I think they're finding the answers through their involvement with CCS, through the relationships they build, through talking to other people, getting that comfort level to talk to adults, and that way they are more receptive to counseling and hearing what's going on and being a part of this community. So my main reason for supporting this is I think we need to tell these young people, we as the city of Rockford really support you and what you're doing and appreciate your involvement. So that continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public speaker this evening is Antonio Ramirez.
Good evening, everybody here. For the City Council, I bear a little gift. You can pass these out. Stories from our young people that have participated in our programs at CCS. I'm here not only to support CCS as a board chair. We just recently celebrated 34 years of CCS being in Rockford. About 26 years ago, I had the fortunate of being an alum of CCS through a program that many of you may have heard of over the last 34 years called Youth Build. That's one of the first programs that was created under CCS. Now having other programs under CCS, being a part of the board, it means a lot to me because I don't share too much of my story in Rockford because I don't think they're ready. I don't think Rockford is ready, but I do share it through the work that I do in my community. Oftentimes through grants and funding, we have to report numbers, we have to report how effective these programs are, but I don't think you see the long-term impact. Myself being raised in Rockford, going through many different changes in life, from parents divorcing at a young age, being a victim of the gang violence in Rockford, and still being here today. I can probably tell you in two hands how many times I've been close calls of not being here today. But because of CCS, around the time that I needed a change in my life, the caseworkers, the staff, the work that they provided me in changing my life and transforming my life to be a leader in my community, not damaging my community, was big. The long-term effect is this. I've helped my city through different programs through the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club. Like myself, William, our CEO, going through the program, has helped many youth through other programs and organizations. This funding is going to support those young people that just need that person that can hear them, that can show that love, that support. And because of that, not only have I been able to help other young people through other organizations, it's also helping change my children's success now. I might not have been as successful as I wanted to as a young person because I had to go through some challenges in life, but I make sure through the skills training, the development, the support, and at the time I didn't know I needed the mental health support. But we had staff members and caseworkers that were there to listen. right before I became a father for the first time. They equipped me. They told me, stay the course. You have something in you, Antonio. I was getting ready to quit, I'm not gonna lie. And they showed me, you stay with us, we're gonna support you. They showed me a list of apartments and I needed a house. They showed me a list of jobs because I needed a job because I was gonna be a father. They didn't give up on me, and I looked back and I said, they didn't have to do that for me. And because of that, I've stayed the course, not only after graduation, just for a short time, I came on as a staff.
Thank you, Mr.
So please
Peters.
support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public speaker this evening is Jessica Vandiver.
All right. I don't think I could adjust that. Okay, so my name is Jessica Vandiver. Many of you have seen my face several times, and I'm not speaking about me today. I'm not speaking about how our community feels that we are failed. I'm speaking about the voices, the faces that you guys don't know. We have Dulce, we have Paul, we have Vicky, we have Dave, we have, who else is here today? We have Eddie. We have people who aren't here, people who we know you guys are pushing through with the, somebody's Dexcom keeps going off. Anyways, sorry, know it from experience. Anyways, people of disability, people of low income, who you guys are pushing through with the manufacturing home being shut down. And yes, it's a manufacturing home, not a mobile home park. And what we're asking is that you guys add a stipulation. Pass it if you may. We've already reached out to John Plant. We've already asked him to hear our voices. And what he said was, when the sale goes through, he'll talk to us. How is that fair to us? Our request is for a fair and a reasonable chance to not become unhoused families. 35 families, that's what you guys would be putting on the street. It's 35 families of low income disability. I'm a single mother who works third shift. Literally, I'm leaving here, probably gonna get an hour of sleep, then I have to drive all the way out to Monroe Center, where I will be spending the next 9 hours training somebody to do my job. Well, I'm also raising 2 children who are not mine, because I've opened up my home just to hear it get shut down. We've had silence, we've had cold shoulders, we've been given crappy offers, say the less. $4,000 doesn't move you into a home. In fact, they want us to make $4,000 a month just to get a home. The average person in this group is on Social Security. We're asking for a fair chance. Do as you might, do as you will, but my biggest question is, hold on, I actually wrote it down. Whether you're willing to stand up for us or you're willing to let us continue fall and then pick up the cost of unhoused families. Because it's a bigger cost to have housed families than it is unhoused.
Thank you to all of our public speakers this evening. Next, we will go to new committee reports, and we will go to Planning and Development Committee and Alderman Durkee.
Thank you, Your Honor. Under Roman numeral 6A, Planning and Development Committee number 1, the committee recommends denial of the proposed funding agreement with Goodwill Partnership with IBEW Local 364 for Electrical Workers Trades Program to better prepare individuals for IBEW application process in the amount of $172,000. The funding source is the casino fund. Number 2, the committee recommends approval of the proposed grant of easement to Commonwealth Edison for the city-owned property located at 850 South Forest Avenue, Rockford, Illinois. The property index number is 1121377-003. Number 3, the committee recommends denial of the proposed funding agreement with Comprehensive Community Solutions to expand the prevention and interventional programming in collaboration with the City of Rockford's Community Healing Center in the amount of $400,000. Funding source is the Cannabis Fund. Number 4, the committee recommends denial of the proposed funding agreement with Angelic Organics Learning Center Incorporated, an Illinois non-for-profit corporation doing business as Farmers Rising in partnership with City Center Market for the establishment of a mobile grocery store in the amount of $822,000. The funding source is the 2025 and 2026 Casino Fund. Number 5, the committee recommends approval of an ordinance terminating the Global Trade Park South Redevelopment Project area and the dissolution of a special tax allocation fund for Global Trade Park South Tax Increment Financing District. Number 6, the committee recommends approval of an ordinance approving the South Rockford Industrial Tax Increment Financing District Redevelopment Project area. Number 7, committee recommends approval of an ordinance designating the South Rockford Industrial Redevelopment Project area. Number 8, committee recommends approval of an ordinance adopting tax increment allocation financing for the South Rockford Industrial Redevelopment Project area. These are up for passage.
Thank you. Council, without objection from this body, I would ask that we hold out item number 1. There's still a number of questions that many of you have brought to me that I am trying to work through with our partners on that. So if there's no objection, I'd like to hold out that first item. Okay, Alderman Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. On item number 4, I move to reverse the committee's recommendation for denial to approve the committee's report for proposed funding agreement with Angelic Organics Learning Center Incorporated doing business as Farmers Rising for the establishment of a mobile grocery store in the amount of $822,000.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. So council members, we do this quite a bit, making that denial and approval, so that would make all of your votes, if it is approved, if Alderman Bell's motion is approved, would make your yes vote mean that you support the mobile grocery store, a no vote mean that you do not. Just simply clears that up for everyone. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion and the second before you right now? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Alderman Bell.
Thank you. I move on item number 4. I move to amend the funding agreement with Angelic Organics Learning Center Incorporated doing business as Farmers Rising for the establishment of a mobile grocery store to reflect an amount up to $50,000 in year 2 and up to $50,000 in year 3, which results in a total funding amount of $622,000.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on that amendment? Alderwoman Prunty.
I got 2 amendments. Are we going to deal with both of them?
I think, I'm not exactly sure at the, so the question was, she has 2 amendments, wanted to know if we were going to deal with both of them. I cannot see your second one, but my understanding is Alderman Thunberg would like to make another amendment. That's at least what his eyes were telling me. I hope that's what his eyes were telling me. So yes, I am assuming that you will, but right now you have 1 amendment before you.
You're just voting on this one?
Just 1 amendment before you right now, and that would take the funding from $822,000 to $622,000. That means year 2 it would be $50,000. Year 3 it would be $50,000. Is there any discussion on the amendment before us? Yeah, Alderwoman Prunty.
So we have these 3 proposals in front of us, and I guess I just feel like we just got them and it's not a lot of time to consider them, so I don't really have any questions.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment before us? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Turkey.
No.
Philipman.
Aye.
Stuber.
Aye.
Frost.
Aye.
Trina.
No.
Prunty.
Say aye on the amendment.
Grant.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Salgado.
Aye.
Meeks.
Aye.
Belt.
Aye.
9 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. Alderman Toomberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to amend the funding agreement with Angelic Organics Learning Center Incorporated DBA Farmers Rising for the establishment of a mobile grocery store to reflect the funding source as follows: an amount of $300,000 from the cannabis funds and an amount of $322,000 from casino funds. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Before you right now is an amendment to the funding source, going from solely being funded by casino funds to adjusting that to being $300,000 of it being funded by cannabis funding and $322,000 of it being funded by casino funds. We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Alderman Frost.
Those numbers add up to 622,000, but the item agenda says it's 820,000. Is there going to be an amendment on the total?
So we just did that. We already did the amendment, bringing it from 822 to 622. Now you'll have that amendment, which will just adjust the funding sources. Alderwoman Meeks and then Alderman Beach.
What was the reasoning for the change?
I have not been provided that reasoning for the change. If any council member would like to address it, they certainly can, and I can call on them. Alderman Toomberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Looking at the reasoning for both our casino funds and our cannabis funds, I felt through discussions that each of these funding sources would be appropriate for this endeavor.
Alderwoman Meeks, did you have follow-up?
Yeah, what does that leave in the cannabis fund?
What does that leave in the cannabis fund? If everything, Mr. Cagnoni, I'm also going to assume, and I don't want to make the wrong assumption. Are you asking what it means if everything else this evening is approved?
Correct.
Okay. If everything else is approved this evening, that would, all of the cannabis funding would be used for 2026.
And where is the funding in the casino fund remaining? Would that be in the redevelopment portion?
If everything that was approved, I just want to make sure I get you the right answer. If everything is approved this evening, how much of that 25-26 casino fund remains?
Correct.
Mr. Cagnoni.
So 2025 casino funds would be exhausted. There's $150,000 left. And then for 2026, there'd be another $150,000 coming out of the ED high-risk area. And there would still remain a balance of $233,000 in arts and culture, $147,000 in other ED activities, and $90,000 in foundation for 2026.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alderman Beach and then Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will be supporting this amendment, but I want to say again, as I did in committee, my concern that Rockford is the one that besides always asks to foot the bill. We get no help from the county, we get no help from anyone else around but Rockford. And I think it's time that when we get issues like this that are so important for the self-care for our children, okay, that it has a wider ask than just the city. And if we didn't have casino funds, if we didn't have cannabis funds, would we be talking about this right now in the shape that we are? So I am gonna support this because I believe in it. But sometime we're gonna just have to get together with our other partners. They're gonna have to start, excuse me, to share in these responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Prunty, I believe you had your hand raised. Alderwoman Prunty.
Please, thank you. I just need to understand those numbers again. Do you mind? Because it's 300,000 that would be coming away from this number. So how is it that it's still, yeah, so this would, instead of this being $622,000 coming out of the casino money, now it would only be $322,000. So now, tell us again how much would be left in the casino funds if this second amendment?
Mr. Cagnoni?
So, of the $622,000, $300,000 would come from cannabis, which would deplete the 2026 funding for cannabis funds. $322,000 would come out of casino funds, $150,000 from 2025 funds, $150,000 from ED high risk in 2026, and then additional $22,000 in 2026.
So, but the casino money does have the $622,000.
It does, yeah, that is correct.
Okay. Can you tell us, without anything being taken out right now, could you tell us one more time how much the casino, how many casino dollars are available?
I believe it's $150,000 in 2025. Let me clarify. Are you asking how much is there without this?
Without this.
Without this, there's $150,000 in 2025 funds. And then I'll give you a number of categories in 2026 funds. So it's $150,000 in 2026 ED high risk areas, $233,000 in arts and culture, $147,000 in 2026 ED, and $90,000 in 2026 foundation. I put a qualifier out there that, one of the items tonight, the labor project, is for $85,000, and the numbers I gave do not include that, and that there's an additional $85,000 for that program.
Alderwoman Prunty.
So if we leave it at the $622,000 coming from the casino dollars, that would be the arts money as well?
So the way we presented the staff report prior to the amendments, the funding source was casino economic development funds in 2025 and casino economic development funds in 2026. Obviously, there's been several amendments this evening. One that reduced it to $622,000 from $822,000, which was casino ED funds. And now this other amendment that would split the cost between casino funds and cannabis funds.
Thank you. Other questions? We have one item before us. It's an amendment on item 4. Again, the amendment on item 4 is adjusting the funding source from being solely based on casino funds in 2025 and 2026 to being a mix of $300,000 from cannabis funds and $322,000 from casino. Is there any other discussion on that amendment? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Aye.
Wilkman.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Cross.
Aye.
Trina.
No.
Prunty.
No.
Granite.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Delgado.
No.
Meeks.
No.
Beth.
Aye.
7 ayes, 4 noes.
Excellent. So now we have 7 items before you because we've held out item 1. Item 4 has now been amended 3 times. Alderman Bell?
Thank you, Your Honor. Can we break these items up?
We
So
can
we're not
certainly,
voting for all of the items at one time?
we can certainly separate different items.
We
Yes.
start at 2 and go down, you think, held out number 1.
So item 1 has been held out. Now we have the 7 remaining items up for discussion. Alderwoman Meeks and then Alderwoman Granith.
Can I make a motion for item number 3 to reverse the denial for the funding with comprehensive community solutions?
Second.
So we have a motion and we have a second to reverse the denial to an approval, I'm assuming, for the proposed funding agreement with Comprehensive Community Solutions. Is there any discussion on that motion? Again, that is just allowing when you as a council say yes, you want to vote for it, or you say yes for your vote, you are saying yes, I want to vote for this funding agreement, and a no is no, I do not want to. Is there any discussion on the amendment before you? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. So now we have 7 items before us. Item 4 has been amended 3 times. Item 3 has been amended once. Is there any other discussion on the 7 items before us? Alderwoman Torina.
Thank you. I have a question on number 4. I don't know who this directs to, but my question is regarding who was around the table crafting this, and specifically I wanted to know if anyone that is actually food insecure served on this committee.
Thank you. Any council members or staff can answer that. I know in the committee list that I had, I know that they had individuals listed that were food insecure, but I don't know the number of meetings they did or did not attend, so I can't speak to that. Alderman Bell.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Mayor. I know that there are several individuals from my ward, from the 13th Ward, who were a part of discussions in the Food Insecurity Task Force and who continue to be around the table. And I can certainly say that my ward is food insecure, so that answers that portion of the question.
Also, Alderwoman Trina, not to specifically, it doesn't specifically answer your question, but I can tell you that they did a number of different surveys. My recollection of those surveys, I'm searching up here for the packet and couldn't grab it quickly. My understanding through those survey work is that they partnered with Northern Illinois Food Bank and did surveys. I believe they also did surveys, and this is the part I'm a touch fuzzy on, but I believe they also did surveys. I want to say North Main Manor, I want to say Olson Plaza, or at least some of the Rockford Housing Authority developments. I know they did surveys through that. That was actually one of the things, by the time I got more engaged in this process, was one of the questions I had asked of, could we do surveys? And I know they did at length surveys with various partner groups in food insecure areas with individuals who have food insecurity concerns and issues. And those surveys came back, I again don't have it with me, but I know, would you utilize the mobile grocery store? I want to say was 92 or 98%. It was significantly high. And it was a statistically significant number that they did in surveys. That's the only number I can remember off the top. And Mr. Cagnoni can maybe address more.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. To answer your question, that level of information is within the packet from the proposals. But they did do surveys through zip code 61101 through 61111, Core West Side Corridor, and 98% of those respondents did say that they would shop the mobile grocery store. 84% report somewhat difficulty in works access to groceries. 83% struggle to access affordable fresh food, and 91% available weekday afternoons for the stops. And there's certainly additional information, but those were the highlights.
Yes, thank you. I also read that in the pro forma. I guess there was a lot of, it was a list of the individual organizations that were a part of this was sent to me. I did review it. But I guess I kind of know how these task force work, is yes, you can say 75 people are at the table, but 75 people are not showing up every week. So for me, it's like, I really wanted a little bit more detail regarding who crafted this. That's really important, who's crafting. Essentially policy or program for the individuals. So that was important for me to know. I didn't necessarily have that. I had just a lot of issues with this one. Not really knowing who was at the table, who was really representing. Still continues to be a lot of questions for me. I also was concerned with the amount of subsidy that was going for this program, especially when it starts off saying that it's, if I read it correctly, this is a $30,000 subsidy each year, or total of $90,000, but that didn't make sense to me when you're going from 250 families the first year up to 1,000. So if that subsidy is the same every year, it kind of seems like the amount of money that is given to the families for the subsidy as grocery prices are rising, the math isn't mathing for me. I also, people want a grocery store, right? And that is what we constantly hear, grocery store, grocery store. Now I look at my own ward and the desires of my residents. It is not Gabrielle, we're starving because I don't live in a food desert. It's Gabrielle, we want food equality. So the desire is I want to be able to go get a full cart of groceries in my neighborhood, not have to go across the town, across the other side of town to get groceries. I need to be able to afford the groceries that are coming to me. And so so there's just a tension between, is this really the desires of my residents? I don't know. I had just riddled with too many questions. I will not be supporting this item, so I just want to make sure that I go on record by saying that. I think that more than anything, I see this coming into the neighborhoods. All of the articles that I've read said that of many of the other cities that we're using as comparison cities, they have a lot of trouble even getting support of this program, so I fear some of that. I fear this asset we're ultimately buying someone else's truck. Again, it's just too many red flags for me. It feels very, very aspirational, and this is a lot of money to support a large aspiration that I'm just not willing to support at this time. So, thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Meeks.
Thank you so much. And I don't know who to pose these questions to, so I'm gonna just ask the staff. When it comes to just the pricing that we're gonna see on these vehicles, I think that's what's giving me the most apprehension. We are starting with City Center Market, who is helping to procure the items that will be on the mobile grocery store. So if I'm comparing pricing, City Center Market doesn't give pricing that I think most people would deem affordable. Yeah, just based off of some of the items that were in the store. So I understand there's supplementing that's taking place here. How do we kind of understand what that will look like on the mobile grocery store? Because what I would absolutely hate is for this to all get started. We get into neighborhoods and we hope that it works, but people see that a gallon of milk is $4 and they're like, I can get this somewhere else. And they more than likely will, because people always figure it out and they do what they have to do. And I want to make this easier, and I want to be able to help, because the last thing that I want is for some senior or some child saying, why didn't you fund this mobile grocery store so I can get my food and my groceries for the week? I would hate for that to happen. But I also would hate for them to not be able to partake in in something like this because of the inability to get that pricing procurement to a point that makes sense. And so if I already see the issues in the city center market that was, if I already see the issues there, why or how will I not see them on this mobile grocery store?
And Alderwoman, thank you. Good questions. Just for clarity, are you, when you're thinking about the pricing, are you comparing like a Woodman's or a Meyer pricing? Is that what?
Yeah,
Okay.
the feedback was that
Understood.
this would be comparable pricing.
Understood.
And so
Thank you.
I just want to kind of understand what comparable means. Are we comparing it to a city center market pricing, or are we comparing it to a Walmart or a Aldi, or a pricing that is a little bit more reachable and attainable for people?
Thank you. I think both council members have addressed or brought up really good concerns. You know, I too, for now probably most people in the audience think for too long, but at least for 13 years, have heard concerns about grocery store. This is not that. It will not be a grocery store. I don't think this will be the end-all solution. I think this is a piece to a very complex puzzle that will allow us to advance in a time that we are seeing new policies come from the federal government that may make it more difficult for individuals who are receiving SNAP and other benefits to get affordable and accessible groceries. So I don't see it as that. I also don't see it as something that will preclude us or this body from incentivizing larger retailers, like which has been done probably 14 or 15 years ago with the Meyer, that we provided multi-million dollars of incentives. We could still do that. As for most recent questions, I do believe this group has thought out a number of those scenarios. I think when I was impressed by many of the partnerships that they have, one including the food bank that will be providing free food to Jackie spoke to it far more articulately than I could, but there was a matching program that if you buy one, you get one that they will utilize. They will have some subsidy, maybe not as much as we all want, but will have some subsidy. I also think they will be partnering with local farmers, growing much of this produce that typically will come at a farmer stand price, which is very attractive compared to at least the places I shop. And I will also say the one thing that just shows my privilege was I said many of the same questions of, you know, well, what if I get this at Aldi? Well, I'm not comparing apples to apples there. Many of the folks that we are talking about and needing to serve the most aren't going to Aldi, aren't going to many of these larger locations. They are shopping at a corner store that $4.50, $5 for milk in many of those cases would be a dream. And so this is providing that accessible and affordable food with some subsidy, but certainly not ever going to be able to compete with the breadth or the dramatic cuts in prices that some of these larger retailers may have.
I think for me, you know, I think that if we're going to be providing subsidy, I would like to have seen, and I don't know if this was discussed around the table, but I would have liked to have seen how we can support some of those local stores that are inside the neighborhoods, and while also providing that security. Because a lot of the success that comes with the mobile stores that have had success in other areas, they're successful because of that subsidy, and because it is a substantial subsidy that makes the pricing cheaper for them to shop there versus shopping at the grocery store. So that's why they get those high numbers. I would have been happy to support this the first time around had I felt comfortable that that was the method that we were going. But I don't feel that that's the method based on the partners that we're working with. And a lot of the reason why some of those other entities outside of Rockford were successful is because before they came, or before they even implemented, they secured a high level of funding from private entities, public entities, and then they moved that project forward. So that was the initial apprehension of this plan. But one thing I'm gonna say is I do listen to constituents, and I could not look someone in the eye that needed a service like this. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is it. I really don't. I don't think this is the ticket. I think that there's a strong likelihood that this will dissolve and we will be right back to square one, figuring out how we're going to provide food for people. And I think that, and like I said, I wasn't at the food insecurity meetings at this point. Now that we're voting on this item, I wish I had been, because I would have liked to understand how we got to this point of everything, knowing that there's so much conversation around mobile grocery stores not being successful. As much as they are great for photo opportunities and standing in front of trucks and everyone smiling and being happy about the ability to feed people, the actual impact is debatable. And so it is a high price item. I do appreciate the negotiations that took place behind closed doors that I didn't know about to get it down to $622,000. I don't necessarily appreciate the adjusting to take away all of the cannabis dollars, but we're here now. And at the end of the day, there is strong support for this initiative, and I don't want to ignore those voices. So I will be saying yes to this, but I'm just gonna be honest, I don't think it's the best decision.
Thank you. Alderwoman Prunty?
Thank you. Somebody, and I know that it's out there somewhere, but could you do it for everybody else? Because I don't want to misspeak. Could somebody please explain the difference between a food swamp, a food desert, food insecurity? What are we talking about?
Okay. I am not the technical expert on that. Food swamp is typically referred to areas in a community that has food but not healthy food options. A food desert typically is stating a portion of a community that lacks individuals' ability to get affordable and accessible groceries, what I would consider more groceries, full-service groceries. That is, and anyone who is impacted and can be in a number of different ways, and please, anyone who has better definitions than what I am saying, please speak up. But anyone, and it can be for a lot of different reasons, but is struggling to get the food they need to live and survive, is food insecure. And that can have a lot of, at least my understanding, Alderwoman Prunty, can have a lot of variety between those individuals who are struggling with food insecurity.
So food insecurity is the lack of ability to afford. Is that?
Get it, afford, and access it.
So swamp is, and desert seems to mean that it's lack of access. Insecurity seems to mean that there's a income instability or income. Is that what you're?
Insecurity can be one's income. I would also say, like, for, I think, what makes, I think, this innovative, may not be the end-all be-all, but makes it innovative, is its attempt to help solve both of those. Attempting to get affordable food to individuals where they live, making it accessible for them to get it.
I want to thank the 12th Ward Alderman for bringing up the idea of supporting what we already have. And I'm just wondering, from not the organizers of this, but the council, or excuse me, the city portion that looked at this, was there, or has there been any consideration for assisting those brick and mortars that exist? Because I think you only said 61101.
Said 61101 through 61111.
61101 through 61111.
Oh, you gave a range. Okay, all right. So those, and they probably didn't ask for anything, but was there any thought or consideration to making those less swampy?
So just so I'm attempting to understand where we're going here.
Because you talk about the quality of food. So when I think about, like, I've shopped at a couple of places downtown where I purchase food. And while I can buy soda and chips, I can also buy some fresh food. But if that's part of the goal, was there any thought process to making some of those areas in 61101 through 61111 more or less of a desert or swamp area?
Yes.
Your Honor, I can
Sure.
answer that question to some extent, and certainly you can correct me if I misspeak, but when it comes to food insecurity, whether that's transportation or cost, I mean, it's all on the table. You know, our team's going to look at holistic approaches, whether that's the establishment of brick and mortar, which we've been successful in securing multiple DCO grants for brick and mortar grocery stores to be established or expanded with, you know, state dollars. Historically, we provided sales tax agreements on the east side and the west side for the establishment of grocery stores. When you talk about a food swamp, and just to make sure that it's answered correctly, a food swamp is an area that does not, you know, has an overconcentration of unhealthy food options. And then many times a food swamp and a food desert will be one and the same, where there's unhealthy options but no healthy options. So, I mean, as a staff, we're willing to look at all the different opportunities, and we'll continue to do so. And I think it was mentioned earlier tonight, this is one option. That certainly is not going to solve food insecurity all by itself. It's going to continue for this, you know, city, whether it's city government or not-for-profit organizations, to continue to tackle the issue in a multi-pronged approach.
Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. Just am wondering, thank you so much for those responses. I am just wondering, since we have made the move to amend this and to use, the one that we agreed upon is to use the $300,000 from cannabis and $322,000 from casino funds. Is there time to amend this again, to make an amendment again? Can we do that? Or are we just still on the discussion of this one?
So all the amendments have went through right now. Amendments, if you wanted to have an amendment, it would need to be in writing. Thus, you had those in writing. If there was needed to be time for that, I think in the past we have provided that time to get something worked up. So it is possible.
May I just ask staff a question again?
Yeah.
Considering how we have used and what we have decided we will use cannabis dollars for, is this, I don't want to say the best use, but is this an acceptable use?
Yep. Thank you. Good question. Mr. Gagnoni?
I believe it is consistent with the resolution that was approved by City Council on the utilization of those funds, and certainly is a part of a geographical area identified in that resolution.
So part of, but not all, but part?
I don't want to say part
That's
of
all right.
or all, I just know.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kennedy, you know, you have my heart. This is a hard job. I guess that as I am looking at this, it sounds as if we do not take this money, this $622,000 from, if we only took it from the casino funds, that they would still have something left. The casino funds would. But if we take 300,000 plus we do the other things that we're looking at doing tonight, then the cannabis funds would have zero left. Is that my understanding?
There would be, I don't have all the numbers memorized, Alderwoman Prunty, but yes, there would be some casino funds based on all of those different categories that council approves remaining. And yes, if we use this, all of this year's cannabis funds would be expended.
So, but if I were to amend this, and rather than using 300,000 from cannabis funds, but use all 622,000 of casino funds, we would have 300,000 at least left in casino funds. Then how much would we have left in cannabis funds? How much would we have left in casino funds?
So if we went back to.
Not to 800, but to 622.
Right. And so
I'm sorry for
we just, no, I think I'm following you. I just want to say it, so half the time I'm only repeating it. So A, people can hear it, and B, I can understand it. Your question is, since it's been amended from 822 to 622, if you utilized all 622 of casino, would there be funding left over in casino? Are you saying in all categories or economically challenged categories?
Because we're pulling from everything, right? We're pulling from multiple places.
We were pulling from multiple places when it comes to casino.
And we would still be pulling from multiple places at 322, correct?
Primarily, you would be pulling from casino economic development and casino economic development in disadvantaged areas.
So the 233,000, is that one of those?
233,000, I'm not following that one.
Is that, didn't you say that there was 233,000 left in one of the funds, and I didn't write it all down?
So with the amendment that was previously approved by council that's under discussion, the $322,000 would come from $150,000 ED high risk 2025, $150,000 ED high risk 2026, and additional $22,000 in ED 2026 casino funds.
And
is there ample casino funds to carry the proposal? Yes, but that wasn't the amendment, that was.
Okay, so I just need to change these, okay.
So, and prior to you making that change, just so I understand, and I'm hoping I'm picking up what you're putting down. If you were to make an amendment that moves the funding back to casino funds, that was just defeated. right? So, I mean, we know the outcome of that.
It was defeated at,
Not defeated, approval.
I mean, yeah, but what she wants was defeated because it wasn't approved.
because this amendment became so.
Yeah.
But with this amendment, we had not had this conversation. Now that we have had this conversation, looking at this amendment, which is the one that has, I'm sorry, there are several of them.
You're fine.
Which asked for the 622, plus I think it asked for the 50 and 50, if I'm looking at the right one.
So my recollection, Alderwoman Prunty, and anyone can please do correct me. My understanding is that we had 3 amendments with this. The first was to move denial to approval.
Yep.
The second was to bring the funding from $822,000 down to $622,000. Then once that was approved. Then once $622,000 was approved, then we had yet another amendment that then moved that $622,000 to have more of the split, the 300 cannabis and the 322 casino.
So could if I were to make an amendment, could my amendment sound something like this? I move to amend the funding agreement with Angelic Organics Learning Center, doing business as Farmers Rising, for the establishment of a mobile grocery store to reflect the funding resource as follows: an amount of $622,000 from casino funds. Could I do that?
So I think you could, A, if it was, I think you could, B, it would have to be in writing, and C, that is literally what they just voted on to not do.
No.
Yeah, yes.
Well, what
So,
is this 50?
And I'm sorry, maybe I'm not, I want to make sure everyone's clear, and if I'm, please correct me where you think I'm wrong. So we first had the item up. Then there was the motion to change it from a denial to approval. Great, done. Then we had an amendment to address the funding from $822,000 to $622,000. All still coming from casino. Done. That got approved, that was done. Then we had an amendment, y'all tested me tonight. Then we had an amendment that we had $622,000 going to funding for the mobile grocery. Then we had amendment that kept the 622 but adjusts the funding source away from using all casino funds to using $300,000 of cannabis and $322,000 of casino. So I think you could make that amendment, Alderwoman Prunty, but I think this body just voted to not do that.
Thank you.
No, I'd want to, am I being clear? I don't want to.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Alderman Thunberg, and then Alderwoman Torino.
Thank you, Mayor. On this mobile grocery store, I think that when we look at giving the seed money, and I know I've talked with some other individuals regarding some other items that are on topic tonight, so it kind of runs parallel to that. I had a lot of questions on this. Part of it is, as we looked at other mobile grocery stores around in other cities, they were, I believe, from what I saw, very heavily privately funded, privately sponsored. So I think what this does is gives the organization a springboard to begin. I appreciate the coming down from 822 to 622. I think what that also does is send a message to this organization that we as a city are serious in advising that they do seek and continue to seek. I'm sure they've been doing it, but we'd like to see them be a little bit more diligent on that, if possible, going forth. to secure private funding because, you know, I think when some programs are seeded, it's hard to unseed them. And so as this organization moves forth, I would like to see the success of it. But I'd also like to see the whittling down of public dollars and the private sector stepping up, as we've seen in some of the other cities where they have been more reliant on private sector dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. And just, no, I'm not responding. I would just say lots of very similar conversations around the horseshoe, and I would say very similar conversations with Farmers Rising and Angelic Organics, and I think that message has been delivered.
Appreciate that.
I'm sorry. Alderwoman Tarina.
Thanks, Mayor. How did we arrive at the $200,000 decrease? And ultimately, how does that impact the subsidy then?
Thank you. So the subsidy will not be impacted. The 150 in year 2 and the 150,000 in year 3 were a not to exceed number. If you look at the pro forma, I obviously grabbed the wrong packet, but the pro forma highlights something around the area of needing less than 25,000 year 2 and needing 13 to 17,000 year 3. The idea was we would give them initially up to 150,000 year 2, up to 150,000 year 3, because we wanted to give them a cushion and make sure that they continue to operate and run and do what we all want them to do. In discussions with Farmers Rising and their team, they also heard from our conversations here on council that our council and our organization wants them to fundraise more and put a greater emphasis on that, on more private dollars and foundation dollars, and less of an emphasis on the public dollars. In conversations with them, the subsidy would not be impacted. Their need to fundraise, I would say, is probably the thing most impacted, and it has just been expedited.
Thank you.
All right, we're cruising. Alderman Beach.
Thank you, Your Honor. I said I was going to support this, and I still am. I do appreciate the remarks made by Alderman Meeks and Alderman Turnbull. When you look at the facts, and I think we spoke about this, Your Honor, that unless they are heavily subsidized, the chance of them being successful is questioned. Because when you figure that margins on these grocery stores are really, at best, somewhere around 4%, and at worst, more realistically, about 1%, and the cost of goods to operate the store are somewhere around 25% at best. If they're not heavily subsidized, you can't make it. Unless they're going to do millions and millions of dollars of retail sales. It just doesn't work. So the message to the developers here is they've got to go out and raise this money. If they don't raise this money, maybe they got some tricks we don't know about. And I just say that kindly. And I think everybody around this horseshoe wants this thing to work. But the reality is, in black and white, unless there's money involved in this thing, to subsidize or bring it up, it's hard to consider at a 1% or 4% margin to bottom, or cost of goods at around 25%, is hard to see it. And I wish them well, and I will support it today.
Thank you. Other discussion. Alderman Frost.
Thank you. I never thought in the same discussion I would wholeheartedly agree with the 12th Ward and 3rd Ward Alderman combined, as Alderman Beach just alluded to.
Last week was unique. This week is even more so.
I don't think anyone disagrees with wanting to solve what we call the food swamp, food inequity, the food desert that exists in any community, but more importantly ours. And I think it was also mentioned by the 5th Ward Alderman about this being aspirational. And I'm glad to see a backtick in the investment, not mean that we're not in favor of going forward and helping out, especially seniors and kids that don't have the ability to get certain places because of transportation, and to have properly food items. And that's why I talked to the director last week about the Piggly Wiggly program and the 25% subsidy that they're able to do. But on their truck, it really is more of a mini grocery store, and I think we really need to, and I don't know how we can do this with this entity, but really, I would think with the Angelic Gardens being involved, really focus on what counts and solve those problems by providing better food, by fruits, vegetables, dairy, those type items that could solve the desert/inequity swamp problems, and not have it just be more convenient to buy a bag of chips, right? So I think I'm hopeful that I haven't talked much about it. I don't know what the logistics are. I know there's been lots of changes made tonight. I know everybody would kill me if I made a motion to lay it over, but I think there needs to be a lot more moving steps going forward to get this right, because the last thing any of us want to see is to say, I told you so, right? The Milwaukee program, and I know its size, scope is much different, but they had almost half of their budget. They had $10 million in private money coming from Piggly Wiggly, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I don't see any of that race so far in Rockford. And so, I know there was a press conference, I think last Tuesday, about the organization moving forward with or without it, and I don't think that's, I'm hopeful that it can be a utilization of our money to help give seed money with the carrot and the stick, that you gotta go out and get other money or it's not gonna work. And the last thing I think anybody wants to see is to spend, whether it's $6,000 or $600,000 on a program that we're gonna fund that's gonna, that it's not gonna be sustainable after 3 years. So I would rather lay it over, but I don't think I'd probably have the support of council to do that, to figure out these details. So I'm hopeful that a city staff in the agreement with this entity and organization really is able to work out the details going forward to make it so it is actually a success, because that's truly what we all want.
Certainly hear you. Appreciate that. I'll at least commit to following up with you after discussions with the team and provide you feedback from them, and also with updates on their private fundraising efforts as well. Alderman Durkee.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I stated in committee last week, I actually am not supportive of this program. A couple of questions I think need to be answered. The pro forma of this seems to be investigatory, part of the issue as to whether or not we need a grocer on the west side. We do. We already answered the question. So the root cause is, why isn't there a grocer on the west side or in these certain neighborhoods, a large grocer? What is stopping them from coming? So that, to my knowledge, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that addressed. I haven't specifically seen that answered or studied. As far as the mobile truck, I don't know that it answers it. And nothing, I guess, is going to solve everything. But you're going to move a truck from place to place, and I can only go by some of the data that's provided. And I know the N is only 222. I don't know how the survey was done, but if you only have 222 respondents, I'm wondering even of the interest that people had in responding to the survey. But I can only go by what's in front of me for all these things. But you have 40% of respondents said, I'm immobile. Food truck's not gonna help. They gotta get to the food truck. Somewhere in there it said 67% already drive. So is their desire to have the food truck simply because I don't want to drive across town? If that's the case, we're in a rural area. There are all kinds of people that drive all over the place for food. The Milwaukee thing that people, as Alderman Frost brought up, the Milwaukee program is heavily not only subsidized by Piggly Wiggly, but is provided by Piggly Wiggly. They have a large chain with economy of scale
that is able to provide foodstuffs at a reduced price because of their purchasing power. The farmers that we would use here are good for a season, but what happens in January? I mean, you're gonna go out in the market and buy it at a markup. So I'm not, and the studies I've read, there's always creep in cost to eventually the overhead exceeds what exists in the private sector. I called any number of grocers this past week, and everybody delivers. Everybody delivers to every section of Rockford.
We can't afford that.
I asked a question last week as to where people got their staples from, toothpaste, soap, different things like that. That's not provided by this either. So it doesn't completely answer what we need to get folks, but the private sector has stepped up to do that, via Instacart or their own delivery service. People on SNAP have reduced to no delivery fee in some of these places. People poo-poo some of these, but they're major chains. The costs that can be delivered to the people ordering online are the same as anybody else because of economy of scale. The data that's provided from the study section said that 85% of respondents said they would like to order online. They would like to do that. The people who were queried basically said that they were home most of the day. So the delivery coming to their home, it's not like they're delivering to an empty home. So I think the private sector has already answered the question as far as delivery. What we need, the other is, I talked to a few women during the week, and I did my own quick study. Women, the women who use this are women with small kids. They don't want to drag like little kids to the grocery store. That's one of they're a big user of online shopping. Because they could stay at home, it's delivered to them, they don't have to drag kids all over the place. Plus, there is an added expense. You do have to drive, you do have to own a car and pay insurance to get there. So I think this is more of a Band-Aid. I think it's a misdiagnosis of what is needed, and it's a misapplication and a mistreatment based on that false diagnosis. I would rather take the $800,000, just find a building, buy it, and subsidize with no taxation or whatever, and let's see if we can draw a grocer for very low cost to do that. The margins of grocery stores run at 2 to 3%. It's not good. We look at these big stores and think everybody's making a lot of money. They're not. The margins are tight. And even as this mobile grocer will try to buy foodstuffs, their margins are going to be tight, which is why they only work if they're subsidized. And even if they're subsidized, their costs, at least from the studies I've read, are high. So I think it's a gallant effort. And if they want to continue as a private entity to do this, more power to them, with private donations. But I see lots of trouble in this because I don't think it delivers. It's not going to deliver what they say. It's going to be very difficult to get fresh food, especially in the down months. They will not be able to deliver the staples, food stuff, the laundry, soap, dishwasher, all those things. People still have to go to a store to buy them. So they're out and mobile already. The question is, how cheap will this food be? And I don't think it's going to be as promised. I actually think the private sector will outdo them in cost and efficiency and availability of a variety. So they're great ideas, they look good, but I'm not so sure this is the right thing. I'd like us to study why aren't we having a grocer and take this money and perhaps find a building and try to seed it ourselves with other entities or groups and get something going on the west side so people can, have a nice grocery. So Yeah, that's my comment on that.
There's a lot to unpack there. We are, I think, really good thoughts and concerns. I've said this before. I did not support this initially. My reason was, how can we not get to someone like an Instacart and cut a deal that allows us to pay flat fees per person and connect those individuals, or connect Instacart and allow someone to buy anything that they want and have it delivered to their home. Truthfully, what I found is the cost was exorbitant. They would not dramatically reduce their fee. It was a flat fee. The one I spoke to, it was a flat fee, $15 per purchase. If they bought $8 worth of stuff or $75 worth of stuff. We would, at the way I looked at it, we would not be able to fund that for just a few hundred people for years, and it would never potentially go away. I will also say we have had discussions with an organization that is considering a food co-op and looking at ways that they're not ready yet, but looking at ways that we could potentially partner with them down the road. I will also say, yes, farmers will be growing fresh produce in any season that they can, in the circumstances that they have with hoop houses or not. And the backup is not nothing. The backup is a local grocer that has contracts with the Cisco's, et cetera, that is also agreeing to provide, I think it's 10 or 15% of profit sharing back to the nonprofit to help its sustainability. It doesn't answer all your questions, certainly, but I have went to as high up as I can get into, I'll just say the Instacarts of the world, and went to their lobbyists and other government affairs folks asking, and have had good discussions. There's a mayor in South Carolina that did it, and everyone touts this. Well, when you dove into it, I was like, that's an incredible amount of money. But if we could do that in Rockford, I think it's worthwhile. They were serving 100 people, not 100 families, 100 people. And I just could not get the math anywhere near where we're at with the numbers that we potentially could serve. Alderwoman Prunty.
Back to that idea about Instacart, and I know everybody doesn't shop at this particular store. I let my membership go, but currently Walmart has a 50% off annual membership of $49. So that $15 per trip, once you spend your $35 or whatever, you have, if you had a membership, you were, that's there for you. So I think you might be able to do more than 100 people with with $622,000.
Understood. And truthfully, the one I was comparing was not Walmart. It was not that. Okay, thank you for that. We have, just to reset, we have 7 items before us. We held out 1 item. Item 3 has been amended 3 times. Item 4 was amended once. Is there any discussion on those 7 remaining items? Alderwoman Meeks and Alderman Durkee.
Would it be all right if you called on Alderman Durkee for a moment, please?
It would be. Alderman Durkee,
What's that?
you're up.
You go.
Oh, thank you. Just wanted a brief comment again on number 3. In committee, I was opposed to this. I am absolutely supportive of Comprehensive Community Solutions. I think it's a great organization. I think they do great work. We are voting, though, on one aspect of the work that they do. And unfortunately, for the money that we're spending, the numbers, results that they're putting up, I don't think justifies the amount of money that we're providing this organization. But like I said, we're not voting on Comprehensive Community Solutions. It's just this program. So I'm in support of what they do, but not this program.
Thank you. Alderwoman Meeks.
Thank you so much. Okay, so items 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yes.
Some of the things that have recently been put forward by our governor, now that he knows there's wide public objection to data centers. I think that there are some things that we could possibly put in place in this particular project area that aren't even specific to the data center, but to just industry as a whole and its impacts. And I do believe there is a pause that we could take. So I am going to make an ask to lay over items 5, 6, 7, and 8. I did receive a couple of zoning amendments that are similar to other non-home rule communities that have implemented rule changes in zoning, and I would like to present that to staff to see if that's an avenue that we could go to make people feel a little bit more secure about the decision that we're going to make. There's still so much unanswered questions and information that needs to be shared with the public, and approving this, I am understanding that this item is not approving a data center. However, the incentive that will be provided for the industry, which I know many of us want this incentive. They want this development and to be able to move this through quickly. But I think there's something to be said about the fact that the governor put out this framework, about the fact that there are still studies that need to take place. And before we commit to TIF dollars, I think there is a moment that we can take to kind of identify what those zoning ordinance changes should be. And the information that I received that I will share was crafted by people that have contributed to the Power Act and some of the legislation that they're trying to move forward. So I do make a motion to lay over items 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and we had a second. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to lay over, so those items are automatically laid over.
Thank you.
Council, we now have 3 items before us. Is there any discussion on the 3 items before us? Alderman Toomberg, then Alderman Frost.
Oh, that didn't work, bless. Thank you, Mayor. On the CCS, I want to thank you to Will, who, Mr. Chapman, who we had it's hard sometimes, busy bees trying to connect, and we finally did in the 11th hour. So I appreciate the conversation with him. I did make it clear that I have no issues with the services that CCS does. And what I do have an issue with sometimes here, as in with other programs as well, is the funding source. So in our discussions, it was clear that the mental health, there is mental health issues, or mental health is being addressed within this program. And for that, it goes back to our discussion of last week and the mental health tax that every one of us in this room are paying into. So Mr. Chapman and I did discuss that in greater length, and there is, I think, going to be more of an effort to go down that route if possible. It brought to my attention initially that there was about $20 million in this fund. Now I'm hearing it's possibly up to 40 million that is sitting in the mental health tax fund. So there is a lot of money sitting there, and now I haven't confirmed it, so let me be very clear. I haven't confirmed it, so you know, if there's someone else on council that would like to chime in on that, I would be appreciative of it. But yes, going forth, I would like to see more of that mental health tax come into the equation here. And it looks like they will go down that route once proven to that health board. If that is the only thing holding that back, the board back from doing this, that as they prove themselves going forward, that they would look for a larger allocation. So again, it goes back to the city, the public schools, the county, all benefiting from this program, and I would like to see some of those entities step up if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Frost.
I just wanted to express my support for CCS. As an organization that they've taken over Youth Build, the Rockford Work Program, I think is outstanding to helping kids. I know there is this debate, and I hate to throw away the baby with the bathwater over the mental health tax and punish an organization because, you know, I think that's another conversation that we can have with respect to the use and viability and success that we as a city are at the table with in discussing how those funds get utilized if we get some. But I'd hate to see CCS not getting additional funding because they do outstanding work, and I think they affect a lot of kids. I don't know the details of this. Of the specific funding from the cannabis fund, only going to one particular area. I'm hopeful that it'll get spread throughout CCS and utilized to help a whole bunch of kids in a whole bunch of different ways. So for that reason, I think it's a good use of $300,000 for cannabis.
Thank you. We are continuing to dwindle the number of items that we have before us, and we have Alderman Salgado and then Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's a lot that I wanted to cover. Looks like 6 through 8 is laid over, so I won't talk on that. Real quick, I'll start with the mobile grocery store. There's been a lot of talk about building grocery stores, and I just want to reiterate what I said last committee meeting. We have El Rancho grocery store that's coming up on Kishwaukee. They got funding for about $1 million to $1.3 million, I believe. Don't quote me on it.
Just over $2 million.
Over $2 million. As some might see it as a subsidy, some might see it as, you know, an investment for that, whether it's for the food desert. That's where it came from. So there is a lot of that, right? So, and then there's talks about margins, right? Yes, very thin margins. I go to Fiesta Market, Belvedere once in a while, or I go to Guanajuato. They have a restaurant, they have a bakery, they have an Order Express to send money, pay their bills. And so they lease all these spots. Why? Because their margins are thin. And so they want to keep their business viable. And that's part of the process, right? Just buying produce, milk, you know, may not pay all the electric bill or may not pay the refrigeration and so forth. So yes, margins are real thin. And I just want to reiterate again, you know, we talked about this framework. It was brought back because we didn't have enough time to, you know, put the framework, whatever it was, we put it together, went to the task force. We have a list of the task force that said, hey, this is one component, this mobile grocery, that we can tackle at this point in time because we don't have a developer that wants to put on the west side or in certain spots because the margins are real thin and there's a lot of risk that goes with it, right? And so that's the conversation. We talked about Woodman's, we talked about Walmart, we talked about all these different, you know, grocery stores. No one has stepped up to the plate that I can recall, right? Yes, there is a lot of food swamp, you know, convenience stores and so forth from that perspective. right? So this is one attempt from that perspective, and that's why I support that piece of it, because the work was there, the survey was down there, they got the information, they put it out there. They went with Angelico and Farmers Rising because they're established non-for-profit. Their role is a non-for-profit. It's not for-profit. It's not a Schnucks. It's not any of those things from that perspective. It is a need in the community, and that's why it's putting it in that direction. And that's what we have to think about from this perspective. So there are subsidies out there. There are tax incentives, and I want to bring this up because, you know, we talk about TIF districts and so forth. That is a purpose too, to help some of these businesses establish those types of businesses in certain areas. You know, from blight, we talk about it, whatever the case may be. Those are the reasons why we certainly have those TIF districts. Obviously, it's not going to fund a whole lot compared to $1 million to $2 million. Some TIF districts only have 50,000, 100,000, very minimal from that perspective, right? So I just want the people to understand that, yes, it is a risk. Yes, it is a subsidy at some point, but it is getting food to the individuals that really need it, from my perspective. We can talk about maybe Milwaukee. How many private sectors did they have when they first established? Was Schnucks on board 100%, 25% subsidies? Was it 10%? Was it 5%? Whatever the case may be, right? And so from my perspective, you know, it is a start, and I do appreciate some of my colleagues here saying that we're willing to give the startup, you know, so they can get going. I'm sure they can come up with other private sector, other companies that are willing to put in money, private money, or whatever the case may be. But it is part of the task force. It is the framework that we have been talking about. Now, I'm hoping that someday we will get a grocery store on the west side, because I had a colleague that's here from the county board. He's no longer here, but we always talk about development in the rural pockets of Winnebago, Pecatonica, grocery stores, so they don't have to drive all the way to Walmart over here, Sam's, or whatever the case may be. There's that push too. We can reach out to the county and work with them, and that's what I'm trying to do from that perspective. So it is a good start. I think it's a good amount of money to invest in this perspective. I don't like the fact that you know, from that perspective we split it. You know, taking it out of the cannabis funds and half of it, you know, going from the casino funds. I don't agree with that 100%. It should have been the casino. We should have left it the way it was. That's why I voted no for it on Mr. Thunberg's amendment on that. So I just want to be clear on that. So I was one of those that voted no for that. Next thing, I want to talk a little bit about number 3 when it comes to the comprehensive community solutions. You heard Alderman Tamir talk about this. We hear, we see the emails that we get about juvenile crime being committed, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. I'm mad about that. I've talked to Jennifer Capabilia, you know, about that, you know, when they're doing the Peace Center and how do we do intervention and so forth. I'd rather pay $50,000 per person than to be locked up in the system where I have to pay my tax dollars and put them in jail, maintain them, you know, whatever it is. If I can save individuals that they can contribute to this local economy, grow their own family, buy a house, and invest in property taxes and sales taxes or whatever, that's what I'm willing to do. And that's what comprehensive community solutions, organizations like that will do. Youth Build, Fatherhood, et cetera, et cetera. I used to work for Community Action up in Beloit, Janesville. Perfect organization. I want to mimic some of the stuff that they do here with our Community Action here in Rockford, because they do a lot of good work with their youth build programs and so forth, and they give second opportunities for those. I know the county is working really hard with the chairman in trying to Loyola University and trying to go after these individuals that need a second chance. Opportunity for them to integrate back into our society so they can contribute to our economy, to our taxes, to our sales taxes, and raise their own family, and not us having to foot the bill and being locked up in our juvenile or justice facilities. So That's why it's good use of this money from this perspective. And we talk about the mental health. Yes, and I talked about Marshmallow Hope. Similar situation. They are getting $100,000 as being confirmed by them, saying that they are getting $100,000. Yes, it is the city of Rockford that they're serving 90% of the participants. So why would we not want to invest in our own community since they're Rockford? Yes, school district kids, whatever the case may be, absolutely. But I think that if we really care and we want to invest in that, that's what we need to do to address those issues. And the cannabis funds is set aside money to address those issues from that perspective, whether it's violence, whatever the case may be. So those are the things why I think it's very necessary for us to fund this. It's a lot of money, absolutely. I wish more organizations would come forward to us with solutions to our issues and sit down. But yes, absolutely, mental health board needs to hear this stuff. They need to understand this. Yeah, it's probably $40 million from that perspective. And we've talked about this, having a conversation with the county board as well, with the county mental health, Winnebago County Mental Health Board, to address some of these issues about why the funding is not going out as should be, or why is there such a reserve? Because we say surplus. It's not really a surplus, it's a reserve, in my opinion. It's not a surplus, it's a reserve from that perspective. And so we need to have those conversations. But just to Mr. Alderman Frost saying to hold them hostage just because I don't feel that the mental health is not doing their job or whatever, therefore I'm not going to fund them whatsoever. But I do appreciate what they do. I think is not good enough from my perspective. And I think we need to help out our community. It is our Rockfordians that need the support and help from this perspective. So I just wanted to make those comments. I wanted to talk a little bit about the TIF, which I will reserve my comments and my questions for that. But most definitely, I think those are my comments for those two items. Thank you.
Alderwoman Prunty.
Regarding number 2, comprehensive solutions, I guess I don't.
Item number 2
3,
is,
I'm sorry, number 3. Thank you for everybody for correcting me, I appreciate it, I really do. I just wanted to just kind of throw this out, not even throw this out there when I say this. So every time I kind of hear this program talked about, we are kind of treated like a crime prevention, but these children aren't criminals. So I want to just kind of keep, these children are trying real hard. And so I don't think that we're funding a program that would have helped somebody who already decided to pick up a gun and shoot somebody. So I want to, that's not these kids. So I'm happy to support them, and I hope that there is a program out there, because I don't think we have it. As hard as we try, I don't think that there's anybody out there who has much for those kids. And I hope that we will find a way to help those kids. And I also want us to help these kids who are doing great things. So, and I want them to continue to be able to do great things and continue to move forward in their lives. So I want to say that because I don't want anybody leaving here thinking that these are criminals and we are saving them. These are good kids trying to do what they're trying to do. All right? Next, can somebody, I just received a little message and I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Can somebody explain make sure that you're explaining it to me, but you're also explaining it to the audience who thinks I missed something. The grocery tax, what it can be used for?
The grocery tax?
Yeah.
So, a couple of things. One, just for record, since we're explaining things, we do have a focused deterrence intervention program for those individuals who have been committed of a crime that we are working to rehabilitate and make sure that we get them on the right track. It's a program that Alderman Salgado mentioned. We actually fund half of it at the city of Rockford. The county funds the other half. As for the grocery tax.
Thank you for that clarification.
Absolutely. As for the grocery tax, historically, the state of Illinois collected the groceries tax and took a percentage of those dollars and then remitted it back to municipalities. Most recently, they did away with that and said, cities, if you collect it, you have to collect it on your own. And so we do that. Those dollars go into our general fund to fund our general operations at the city of Rockford. So including public works, finance staff, HR staff, IT staff, every staff member that we have that is not on what we would call like an enterprise fund basis. So water department is an enterprise fund. It makes money, it sells water, makes money, and funds the staff that does those operations.
So that's nothing that we could amend and use for item number 4.
So any dollar going into the general fund, you can amend to use for other items. But when you take something from the general fund, let's say, i.e. $622,000, you need to find $622,000 of either revenue or cuts to make that fund whole. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Started with 8, down to 3. We have items 2, 3, and 4 before us. Any last discussion? Seeing no last discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Aye on 2, no on 3 and 4.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Frost.
Aye.
Trian.
No on 4, aye on the rest.
Twenty. Aye on 2 and 3, no on 4. Grant.
Aye.
Peach.
Aye.
Salgado.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Item number 2, 11 ayes, item number 3, 10 ayes, 1 no, item number 4, 8 ayes, 3 noes.
Excellent. If you're keeping track, we're going to be able to vote on all 3 of those 3 items yet again later this evening. We're going to move to Code and Regulation Committee. Alderman Logan.
15 items tonight. Code and Regulation Committee recommends sustaining the Traffic Commission's approval requiring that traffic on 13th Avenue be required to yield prior to entering the intersection of 17th Street. Item number 2, committee recommends sustaining the Traffic Commission's approval requiring traffic on 14th Street to yield prior to entering the intersection of 10th Avenue. Item number 3, committee recommends sustaining Traffic Commission's approval for a restriction prohibiting commercial vehicles on Guilford Road from Prospect Street to Alpine Road. Item number 4, committee recommends sustaining the Traffic Commission's recommendation that no action be taken on the following items. A, request to establish a four-way stop control at the intersection of Phaeton Drive and Wagonette Drive. Item B, request to establish stop control at the intersection of Pioneer Drive and Winthrop Lane. Item C, request to establish traffic control at the intersection of Wisconsin Avenue and Holland Street. Item number 5, committee recommends denial of the annexation of 14XX Edson Road, 15XX Edson Road, 16XX Edson Road, and a portion of 8631 11th Street. The subject property is currently agricultural farmland. Contract purchaser plans to develop an industrial subdivision on this land. Item number 6, committee recommends denial of the annexation agreement for 14XX, 15XX, and 16XX Edson Road, and a portion of 8631 11th Street. Item number 7, committee recommends denial of the zoning map amendment from County AG to I-3 Airport Industrial Zoning District at 14XX, 15XX, and 16XX Edson Road, and a portion of 8631 11th Street, thus reversing ZBA's recommendation of approval. Item number 8, committee recommends sustaining the Zoning Board of Appeals approval for a variation to reduce the required front yard setback from 30 feet to 20 feet and 5 inches in an R1 single-family residential zoning district at 2520 Driftwood Lane, subject to conditions. Item number 9, committee recommends sustaining the Zoning Board of Appeals approval for a zoning map amendment from R1 single-family residential zoning district to C2 limited commercial zoning district at 8539 East State Street, subject to conditions. Item number 10, committee recommends denial of sale of tobacco products in conjunction with the tobacco store at a C4 urban mixed-use district at 714 Broadway, thus reversing the Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board's recommendation for approval. Item number 11, committee recommends sustaining the Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board's approval for A, sale of liquor by the drink, and B, sale of packaged liquor in conjunction with a cafe, restaurant, and bar in a C4 urban mixed-use zoning district at 501 East State Street, subject to conditions. Item 12, committee recommends sustaining the Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board's approval for modification of an existing liquor license to include liquor by the drink with video gaming terminals in conjunction with a restaurant and banquet hall in a C1 limited office zoning district, C2 limited commercial zoning district, and C3 general commercial zoning district at 6075 East Riverside Boulevard, subject to conditions. Item number 13, committee recommends denial of A, sale of packaged liquor, and B, sale of tobacco products in conjunction with a liquor store in a C2 limited commercial zoning district at 922 Kilburn Avenue, thus reversing the Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board's recommendation for approval. Item number 14, committee recommends sustaining the Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board's approval for sale of liquor by the drink in conjunction with a restaurant in an I-1 light industrial zoning district at 3222 and 3208 South Alpine Road, subject to conditions. And finally, item number 15, committee recommends denial for the sale of beer and wine by the drink in conjunction with a restaurant and video gaming terminals in a C2 limited commercial zoning district at 7054 Walton Street, thus reversing the Liquor and Tobacco Advisory Board's recommendation for approval. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Logeman. Council, we have 15 items before us. Is there any discussion on those 15 items?
Mayor.
Alderman Bell.
Thank you. I move to reverse the committee's recommendation from denial to approval for the sale of tobacco products in conjunction with the tobacco store at 714 Broadway.
What number is that?
2.
Item 2. Thank you. What number is that?
10.
10. Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second, I believe I heard. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on moving that denial to an approval? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. You said no?
I did.
Okay, thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Bell?
Thank you. I move to reverse the committee's recommendation from denial to approval for the sale of packaged liquor and tobacco products in conjunction with a liquor store at 922 Kilburn Avenue.
What number are you referring to?
Sorry.
13?
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
1 no. All right. Alderman Bell.
Thank you. I move to reverse the committee's recommendation from denial to approval for the sale of beer and wine in conjunction with the restaurant and video gaming terminals at 7054 Walton Street. That will be item
15.
15.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
1 no. Any others, Alderman Bell?
No.
Alderwoman Meeks?
Yeah, just to stay aligned with my previous commentary on the project area, I'd like to make a motion to lay over items 5, 6, and 7.
Second.
Items 5, 6, and 7 have been laid over.
Thank you.
Down to 12 items. Any other discussion? So Council, you have 12 items before you. Items 10, 13, and 15 have been amended. Is there any final discussion? Seeing no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
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 Ross.
Aye.
Joanne.
No on 10. 13 and 15. I am the rest.
20.
Aye.
Bennett.
Aye.
Segal.
Aye.
Meeks. Aye. Duff.
No on 10, 13, and 15. Aye on the rest.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Finance and Personnel Committee and Alderman Frost.
Thank you, Your Honor. Number one, the committee recommends approval of voucher in the amount of $15,480,571.48 as approved at the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting held on June 22nd, 2026. Number two, the committee recommends approval of a lien reduction request from Z Financial to release liens on various properties from 1987 to 2017 in the total amount of $15,495.50 upon payment in full of $10,000. Number three, the committee recommends approval of a memorandum of agreement with ASME Local 1058 regarding financial incentives for telecommunicators. Number four, the committee recommends approval of an IGA in the City of Rockford and Rockford Housing Authority in amount determined per weatherized scattered site unit. The agreement does not require cost match. The agreement term is from the term of the date of execution with a potential one-year extension. I place these 4 matters before you.
Thank you. Council, 4 items before you. Any discussion? Alderwoman Meeks.
Thank you so much. Question for item number 2. Are there any assurances that we have in place to kind of not run into this situation again? I noticed there's a long gap where these properties were not in compliance, and I appreciate the negotiating to get to that $10,000 mark. I'm just a little concerned that we'll go back here with this individual. I can't recall, did you mention last week that they're intending to sell these items or these homes?
Mr. Cagnoni?
So, thank you, Your Honor, and Alderwoman, we have been advised by the owner that that is their intention to sell the properties.
Okay, I mean, are they on like a watch list to make sure that they don't fall back into or out of compliance, considering they have such a strong history of doing that?
I mean, I wouldn't characterize it as a watch list, but, you know, certainly want to make sure that they conform to the agreement that we have, where the properties will remain in compliance.
All right, I appreciate that. And then item number 3, I'm just curious, how does this memorandum of agreement differ from the incentive that was offered to Health and Human Services?
Chief Tayo first, and then maybe for...
I don't have the background on the incentive offered for health and human services, so I can't speak to that, but.
Do you want to begin by speaking on this, and then I'll go over to Director Parham?
How we see it, in our 911 center, we have a certain level of staffing on the ASME side. We have been short-staffed for quite some time, despite our efforts. It just takes a long time to get people hired, trained, and we can only hire so many at a time, train so many at a time. And so hitting into July and August, we recognize we might be short-staffed here. On a few occasions, we have 10 positions that are open, and so working with finance and legal and HR to see what we have within our operational budget to be able to incentivize individuals who are already working overtime and already working hard to just incentivize not calling in sick maybe if they don't need to, or using other time off or those incentives to be able to show up on the regularly scheduled work shift just to get us through these busy months until we can get some more people trained onto the floor.
And what is the estimated cost?
So we budgeted within this, our operational budget to have about $64,000 if everybody were to not call in and everybody were to, take the incentive, and that is within the budget we're planning.
Thank you so much.
Director Parham, could you touch on
Is
how
there
your program was?
Yeah. So let me ask a question first. I know we did, are you asking about the incentive package that we had earlier this year, or when we had one over a year ago that more specifically related to attendance?
I think I'm speaking of the one earlier that related to attendance.
Okay. The agreement that we had around attendance was that if it was all staff that actually mimicked the agreement RPS had with their paras and their union, but it was if all staff had perfect attendance during a pay period, they received a bonus in those pay periods when there had been significant absences kind of continuing and lingering beyond the pandemic, but they mimicked what the district had offered.
And do you happen to recall what the cost was for that incentive by chance?
I do not.
No.
I believe it was $250 a period. I have not been on the total cost. I think it went for maybe 3 to 4 months.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Alderman Frost.
With regard to number 2, was Z Financial the owner of these
Yes.
properties from 87 through 2017?
Yes.
They were, right? Thank you.
Any other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
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 No on 2, aye on the remainder.
Aye.
No on 2, aye on the remainder.
Aye.
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 Aye on 1, 2, 3, no on 4.
Item number 1, 10 ayes. Item number 2, 8 ayes, 2 noes. Item 3, 10 ayes. Item 4, 9 noes, 1 no.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to unfinished business. We'll go to Code and Regulation Committee and Alderman Logan.
One item in front of us. Item number 1, committee recommends sustaining the Zoning Board of Appeals approval for a special use permit for a planned unit development for an RV and fifth wheel only community in an R1 single-family residential zoning district at 2530, 2710, and 2720 South Main Street, subject to conditions.
Thank you. Alderwoman Torina.
Perhaps I'll provide some more context because this is I'm going to be making a motion, but I want to explain what the motion is because your crib sheet is just a bit vague. So we've talked about this item many times, and the residents are obviously very concerned about having to leave their homes. And I have empathized with them for that. They did send over a request wanting some additional assistance from the developer of the RV park. The developer they asked for $450,000 in relocation. The developer is able to do. They were at $175,000. They're willing to come up $10,000 more to provide a total package of $185,000, which would be. The initial offer was $4,500. They did go up 25% to a total of $5,625. And so the condition that we're asking to be put into the special use permit is that the applicant shall provide a relocation assistance program to offer support for existing residents for the property transition use. And the program will consist of a one-time payment of $5,625 for each lease site that chooses to voluntarily locate within 90 days of accepting the offer. So the motion that I'm making is to amend the conditions of the approval to include this condition, number 11, which would read as follows, I just read it, and that they must comply within the relocation plan dated June 29th, 2026. And that's what I just read.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on the item before us? Alderman Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. I did not catch that last, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, just due to the microphone not.
Can you correct me if I'm wrong? I believe Alderwoman Trina stated that the relocation has went from $4,500 to $5,625 to those residents who relocate within 90-day period, within 90 days of accepting the offer. I believe that's it.
Thank you.
You're up.
Thanks. So, I guess I'll ask a question that I've asked before. Do we believe that we have enough housing stock to, for these individuals to potentially move into here in the city of Rockford that's affordable?
Mr. Cagnoni or Ms. Heinrichs, I don't have the availability of the units, Alderman Bell. As I told you the last time you asked, I don't have that, but I'll ask staff if they happen to have it.
Thank you, Your Honor, Alderman. Similar to my last, response, there are available housing units within the city of Rockford. Certainly aligning cost points with available housing units is, an issue that needs to be resolved. I don't know the financial information related to all the residents and how those would align.
Any other?
Yeah, probably. Maybe in a little bit, but you can.
Okay. Any other discussion? Alderman Durkee.
Thank you. My understanding is a lot of these mobile homes are bought and paid for in good shape, but cannot be moved. So basically, they went and did all this in an R1 zoning, and we're flipping the zoning underneath a resident. This is a hard one for me. I'm not so sure I can be supportive of that. These folks, the mobile homes have value. The owner of the property knew ahead of time, all this stuff, and he wants to flip the zoning and remove them and do something else. I'd rather see the owner work on some kind of compromise with the city, keep part of it R1 and part of RV. This is a tough one for me. I can't support what we're doing here.
Is there any other discussion? Alderwoman Torino.
So from my understanding, it's a zoning change, that it's a special use permit. So what I'm looking at is older owners that want to sell this property and have wanted to sell it for a long time. The opportunity came forward to do so, and so that's what they want to do. Now, we're dealing with, yes, displacement, which is very difficult. So that's why it was important to listen, to make sure that they knew that the city did offer some services to help with that. This is a tough one because there are two sides to the story. There isn't just one side. There's a lot of information that is being given about what's happening to the property currently. I don't even know if I can be public about some of the things that I know. I wish I could have had some private conversations because I don't want to say anything derogatory towards anyone in this because it's hard for all sides. But for me, I guess I'm just looking at it in terms of the developer is offering something. No, it's not ideally what we want to see, but they don't have to offer anything. Again, that makes it difficult. The current owners, they don't have to offer anything either, and they're not. I know that that was a desire, was to see the current owners offer something, but they're not. I'm just trying to think of any pieces of this puzzle that I could try and fill in from just what I know, from having spoken to lawyers on both sides. I've been kind of sort of put in the middle of it, which I didn't necessarily want to be in the middle of it, but I guess I'm looking at individuals that want to sell their property and how can we legally say that they cannot do that? And I understand, again, the people part is important to me. We're not denying that. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day for me, I had to look at the issue at hand, which was the person wants to sell their property and wants to get a special use permit, and the zoning board didn't have an issue with it, city staff didn't have an issue with it, so I could not come up with a sound enough reason to say no when I had all of those factors in front of me. So that is why I am making the decision to support it with this package.
Thank you. Council, we have one item before us. Alderman Bell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have two. So, do we know, maybe Mr. McNaughton, maybe this is for you, but I'll address it to the chair. Do we know, should this special use permit that this developer's coming before the city council to get approved, if it's not approved, do we know if that developer will continue to maybe pursue to purchase the property, but maybe have an alternative business plan, or will this developer then walk away, this buyer then walk away, and it would remain the same, in the same hands?
Thank you. Mr. Cagnoni?
So it's a little bit difficult to predict, so I can certainly share what we understand and what's been represented to us by the applicant. The applicant has stated that they've worked in good faith to come up with the relocation dollars for the individuals that are there, but have stated that they're on their backs. So if the special use permit would be denied, I would anticipate that they would not move forward with the acquisition of the property. Their proposed plan is to transition from the existing, non-conforming use to a conforming use at this location. This property was annexed, or I should say, this property developed, decades ago outside the city of Rockford, was later annexed into the city of Rockford, and never followed what would be the typical city of Rockford development standards in regards to the overall infrastructure improvements and the establishment of mobile homes in the floodway and floodplain. So the development is non-conforming. Over time, there's been, deterioration of certain mobile homes. They've been removed. Certainly, there are a number of mobile homes that are still there that could be relocated. And so, looking back to your question, whether this individual would buy it or not, I don't know. I understand that he would not pursue it. Whether the current owners would then follow the state statute and still, advance the relocation or eviction of those individuals and then resell it at a future point, I don't know. All those are hypotheticals that could or could not happen. It's just difficult to fully predict. But part of the reason staff recommended approval and ultimately the Zoning Board of Appeals was bringing this towards conformance with our zoning ordinance and the level of investment that was going to take place on the site.
Thank you. I just said, I think, at least my colleagues know where I stand on this. I am a no. I won't belabor it. I think what I will say is, this is just, for me, an unacceptable item to come before us as a suggested approval. Thank you.
Thanks. Alderwoman Prunty.
Thank you. I've never moved a home.
Cost $20,000 in the trailer.
Oh, thank you. That was my question. Thank you. All right, so you all didn't hear me. I guess I was just wondering, like, how much does it cost to move a home? And then I just heard that it costs $20,000 to move a home. You know, are there places where you can just move a home to?
Mr. Cagnoni, do you know if there's other places within Winnebago County that individuals could move to?
So there are other mobile home or manufactured home subdivisions within Winnebago County, whether it's, feasible for them to relocate into those subdivisions. I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you.
So if they take it, they get $5,625. If they don't take it, if they don't sign up, does that mean that they get nothing?
My understanding, and please staff correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding was, I believe they have up until a year to ultimately move. And if they choose a shorter time period, they're incentivized to choose that shorter time period with the $5,625. Staff, am I getting that accurate? Yes.
So we have housing stock. How many families did you say it was?
Director or Mr. Cagnoni, number of total families? It's just under 40.
90 days is kind of quick, but.
From when they sign that agreement.
Okay. Oh, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Frost, Alderman Frost.
Thank you. I just had a question for legal. Since the ZBA and staff have recommended approval of an SUP, and I agree with several of my colleagues that this, I find this very disheartening. Besides the alternative of the buyer walking away, we as a city, this was denied. Do we stand on troubled waters with respect to future litigation for denying the basis?
So I concur there were enough objectors in the record that the zoning board of appeals that would support the basis of denial based on the alternate concerns that have been raised tonight.
And then, I don't know who wants to answer this, but if this was to be approved, is there any help that the city of Rockford can do to these 40 families with respect to helping them find alternative housing? We pass a lot of dollars around here, and I'm just curious, do we have anyone or specific department, a contact, someone that can help these folks be relocated?
Thank you. Director Parham?
Alderman Frost, we were at the table with Alderman Trina when she met with these residents, and we did talk about the services that Health and Human Services can potentially provide to them via our relocation assistance that we offer. However, again, that is contingent upon there being housing that is available, and there are so many factors to consider. One of the things is that, honestly, these manufactured homes are some of the most affordable housing in our community. So the reality is someone relocating from one of those spaces to somewhere else just because there's an apartment available. What does that mean? If they cannot afford it, or if there are folks that are on limited income, what we're seeing in the services we provide, many of them are requiring 3 times the amount of someone's income in order for them to move in with the deposit and first month's rent at that time. So the cost can get very absorbent. So there are some resources that we do have available, but it does not meet the full spectrum of their needs with regard to cost related to moving a trailer, whether a trailer is in the condition that it can move, whether or not that person works. Quite a bit of our resources may also be contingent upon that person's specific situation. So someone who does work and they have income they're eligible for a different type of assistance than someone who doesn't and is on disability. So it's not black and white across the board for every situation. It would differ based on each individual family.
But we have the capacity to sit down with each individual owner of a manufactured home or family and offer them advice and counsel them on ways to pivot, or do we not?
Somewhat, yes, and we've offered that, but we have not, those requests have not come to us in that way. But we have offered to meet with them, to let them know what resources are available, and to identify what their situations are, to potentially help with a path forward. But of course, that's not a guarantee. And then also, we are at the time of the year when our state grants run out on June 30th prior to it starting. So as a matter of fact, as of today, right now, we are not offering rental assistance because what we have has been exhausted and funds will not be available until after July 1.
So we get replenished after
But
July.
they'll be replenished after.
Just one last question. If the owners of the manufactured homes, I think Mr. Cagnoni mentioned it, they decide not to take the deal, I believe it's by state statute, that if they're served with an eviction notice, that they could, possibly hold this up because they could stay there for 12 months. Someone give me information on that?
Is that accurate, Mr. Cagnoni?
That is correct. There's a state statute that regulates relocation, and it is a 12-month notice.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Meeks.
Well, thank you. I just have a question out of curiosity. Is it possible for us as a city to set aside funds to provide either loans or forgivable loans for these particular situations? I don't know how that would really work out, but just, it's a thought that just came to me. Is that something that we are able to do?
I think and correct me, team, I think the answer is legally, yes, we are able to do so. Probably has to have a couple of different factors, like where are they moving? Are they moving into another place in Rockford?
Right.
A lot of different factors. But I think unless I'm wrong, I think technically, legally able to, I think the answer would be yes.
Okay, and if we were to do something like that, what fund would staff suggest it come from? I'm looking at Todd Cagnoni.
I mean, my thought off the top of my head is we would need some time to figure that out, instead of just off the cuff. But Mr. Cagnoni, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, I want to work with Director Parham. I mean, clearly City Council had authorized, $300,000 recently of unrestricted funds that her department could use. That would be an eligible item that could help with relocation costs. I'm sure she has ideas on how to use that dollar, so I would not want to commit it. And would concur with the mayor, could there be other opportunities, whether that be casino funds or other to help? If it was, if this was an area in which City Council was going to approve.
Just a question out of curiosity. Thank you for answering.
Alderwoman Prunty?
Thank you. You talked about the eviction process, and it's 12 months. Can you just evict someone if they are, how would that work? I didn't know you could just, I thought that there had to be a reason for eviction, and that was non-payment, or they can evict.
Director Hammer?
If you're still paying?
So it's my understanding that they rent the last space at the location they own their manufacturing. So typically the contract, it's usually for a period of 1 year, and at the expiration of the year, it's not really fixed month to month. So typically, you could evict someone on a month-to-month notice, just by giving that notice as required under the month-to-month lease. In this instance, there is a specific statute for mobile home relocation that provides a year for them to relocate to the statute.
So if they take this, they have the potential of getting $5,000 plus. If they don't take it, in 12 months, they still just be engaged?
Okay, council, we have one item before us. Is there any discussion on the one item? Alderman Frost.
I'd like to turn in a written motion to use up to $200,000 of casino funds to assist in qualified relocation.
So we would need, hold up. We would need it in writing, so Alderman Frost is going to now walk it over. While he does that, would I have this council's permission to continue on with our agenda, because our team will need to type up something, then you all will want to debate it again, I'm guessing. And so do I have your permission to do a stay on the item that we have and move forward with the rest of the agenda? Is there anyone who objects? Okay. Director Hammer. You're a very smart person. I appreciate you. So we need sorry, I just want to make sure I'm accurate. He's going to be providing a motion to amend. I know he did, but he also didn't have it in writing to everyone.
But there's still a motion to amend by Alderman that has been seconded.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. We've been debating and debating. So first and foremost, we have a motion on the floor right now to bring those dollars, as Alderwoman Tarina stated, up to $5,625.
Yes, sir.
That motion is before us right now. And so we need to vote on that, and then we can do a stay and bring in the other dollars that Alderman Frost was discussing.
Just ask a question.
You sure can.
So $250,000 divided by 35 homes is $7,142.
Yep.
Plus maybe $5,000.
Yep.
So they're still gonna have to come up with, what is that, $8,000, $9,000?
If they were to move it, yes. Based on the cost that was mentioned from the audience, yes.
So if they don't choose to move it, and they get the 5,000, then they get the 7,000, they still would get the 7,000 too? But they just, I mean, what is the,
We have to determine all of that. We have not had that discussion yet.
Okay, thank you.
So we have one item before us. The $5,625 is before us. Is there any further discussion on that one amendment? Clerk, please call the roll on just that amendment.
Aye.
Aye.
This is on
Alderwoman Tarina's amendment up to $5,625.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Serena.
Aye.
Muncy.
Aye.
Granite. Aye. Salgado. Meeks.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
10 ayes.
Okay, so now we have that. Do I have your permission to continue on with the agenda and come back once we have this all typed up and in front of it? Is there anyone who objects to that? Excellent. Next, appointments are laid over through after our meeting after July 1st. We'll go to motions and resolutions. We'll go to Planning and Development Committee. And Alderman Durkee.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's one item. Committee recommends approval of the Spaces to Places program, which is intended to reduce commercial vacancies and support small business growth by providing temporary rent assistance for new or expanding businesses. City will reimburse security deposits and 50% of rent for 12 months for total funding level up to $28,000 per business. The program will have $300,000 designated from the 2026 and 2027 casino funds, and this is up for passage.
Okay, we have one item before us. Any discussion on that one item? Alderman Toonberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I would make a motion to lay this over.
We have a motion to lay it over. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. It's laid over. Next.
Wait, this is
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on the layover? Clerk, will you please call the roll on the layover?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Prunty?
Aye.
No.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Items laid over. Next, we're going to go to Code and Regulation Committee. Alderman Logeman.
Thank you, Mayor. One item, committee recommends approval of the request for authorization to allow the zoning officer to file text amendments for multiple sections of the zoning ordinance. Proposed text amendments to zoning ordinance table 20-1, article 20-005C, table 21-1, article 30-004, article 35, article 50-003, article 50-016, and article 80-003. Places up for your approval. Thank you.
Council, is there any discussion on the one item before us? Seeing no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
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 Next, we'll go to Finance and Personnel Committee. Alderman Frost.
Thank you, Your Honor. Number one, the committee recommends approval of award of bid for city yards wash bay drain replacement repairs to DPI Construction, amount of $118,630. This is a one-time project. The funding source is the property fund. Number two, the committee recommends approval of award of bid for Rails to Trails Rockford shoreline repair to Copenhagen Construction in the amount of $570,582.94. The contract duration is through October 16, 2026. The funding source is 1% infrastructure sales tax. Number three, the committee recommends approval of award of non-competitive contract for the purchase of 2 police vehicles to Rockford in the amount of $52,322.26. This is a one-time purchase. The funding source is the State Drug Asset Forfeiture Funds. Number four, the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the appropriation of MFT funds for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code Region 1 Planning Council fiscal year 2027 funding in the amount of $91,308.49. Number five, the committee recommends approval of the authorization to issue a request for proposals for the development of 8 townhome units at 966 Fourth Street. Number six, the committee recommends approval of the authorization to issue a request for proposals for architectural design services to develop a minimum of 3 single-family residential design templates for a new residential infill program. I place these 6 matters before you.
Council, 6 items before you. Any discussion on those 6 items? Clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
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 No on 4, aye on the rest.
Items 1 through 3, 10 ayes, item 4, 9 ayes, 1 no, 5 and 6.
Next, we'll go to new business, and we'll go to Code and Regulation Committee and Alderman Logan.
We have 13 items in front of us, with items 4, 5, and 6 being laid over. Item number 1, an ordinance requiring that traffic on 13th Avenue be required to yield prior to entering the intersection of 17th Street. Item number 2, an ordinance requiring traffic on 14th Street to yield prior to entering the intersection of 10th Avenue. Item number 3, an ordinance approving a restriction prohibiting commercial vehicles on Guilford Road from Prospect Street to Alpine Road. Skipping to item number 7, an ordinance approving a variation to reduce the required front yard setback from 30 feet to 20 feet and 5 inches in an R1 single-family residential zoning district at 2520 Driftwood Lane. Item number 8, an ordinance approving a zoning map amendment from R1 single-family residential zoning district to C2 limited commercial zoning district at 8539 East State Street. Item number 9 was reversed to approve an ordinance related to the sale of tobacco products in conjunction with a tobacco store in a C4 urban mixed-use district at 714 Broadway. Item number 10, an ordinance approving the sale of liquor by the drink and the sale of packaged liquor in conjunction with a cafe, restaurant, and bar in a C4 urban mixed-use zoning district at 501 East State Street. Item number 11, an ordinance approving the modification of an existing liquor license to include liquor by the drink with video gaming terminals in conjunction with a restaurant and banquet hall in a C1 limited office zoning district, C2 limited commercial zoning district, and C3 general commercial zoning district at 6075 East Riverside Boulevard. Item number 12, an ordinance related to the sale of packaged liquor in conjunction with a liquor store in a C2 limited commercial zoning district at 922 Kilburn Avenue. Item number 13 was a reverse in the affirmative, an ordinance related to the sale of tobacco products in conjunction with a liquor store in a C2 limited commercial zoning district at 922 Kilburn Avenue. Item number 14, an ordinance approving the sale of liquor by the drink in conjunction with a restaurant in an I-1 light industrial zoning district at 3222 and 3208 South Alpine Road. Item number 15 was also reversed in the affirmative, reading an ordinance related to the sale of beer and wine by the drink in conjunction with a restaurant and video game terminals in a C2 limited commercial zoning district at 7054 Walton Street. And finally, item number 16, an ordinance approving the special use permit for a planned unit development for an RV and fifth wheel only community in an R1 single family residential zoning district at 2530, 2710, and 2720 South Main Street. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Council, there's 16 items, but I'd like to make a stay on item 16 because we have to go back and have that discussion. Is there anyone who objects to me just briefly holding item 16 so we can discuss items 1 through 15, and then we will come back and discuss 16, but we'll do it under a different section with the amendment that Alderman Frost has provided. Is there an objection to that? Okay. So we have 15 items before us, or 15 items before us. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bell.
Oh, thank you. Mayor, I think item 4, 5, and 6 are held out or laid over.
They were laid over. Items 4, 5, 6 were laid over. Those are the only ones I can see that were laid over. Any discussion on the items that are up for a vote? No discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
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 Bill on 9, 12, 13, and 15. I am the rest.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Delgado.
Aye.
Meeks. Aye. Bell.
No on 9, 12, 13, 15. I am the rest.
Thank you. I'm going to keep going unless there's an objection, and we can come back to that item that'll have, I'm guessing, quite a bit of discussion. Alderman Durkee.
Sorry, Your Honor, under new business, A, we skipped over that, I believe.
Did I do that?
Planning and development.
Probably has an older agenda where we had code of regs first.
I don't see that I missed it. Did I?
I think Alderman Durkee is saying that planning and development, it was on the previous agenda. We just took it out of there. So planning and development is
Planning and Development is up next. It was flipped in order.
Okay.
My apologies to you, Alderman.
Yeah.
So now we are on new business, Planning and Development, Alderman Durkee.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
There are 3 items. Number 2, an ordinance approving a grant of easement to Commonwealth Edison for city-owned property located at 850 South Forest Avenue, in Rockford, Illinois. Property index number is 11-21-377-003. And number 3, an ordinance related to the funding agreement with Comprehensive Community Solutions to expand prevention and intervention programming in collaboration with the City of Rockford's Community Healing Center in the amount of $400,000. The funding source is cannabis funds. An ordinance related to funding agreement with Angelic Learning Center Incorporated, an Illinois not-for-profit corporation doing business as Farmers Rising in partnership with City Center Market for the establishment of a mobile grocery store in the amount of $622,000. Funding source is $300,000 from
Cannabis?
cannabis and $322,000 from the casino funds. These are up for final passage.
Thank you. Council, we have 3 items before us. Any discussion on those 3 items? Clerk, please call the roll.
I am 2, no on 3 and 4.
Boatman,
Aye.
Hubert,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Serena,
No on 4, aye on the rest.
Prunty,
I on 2 and 3, no on 4.
Brennan,
Aye.
Salgado,
Aye.
Meeks,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Mayor McNair,
Which number? Oh, aye, for sure.
all ayes passed.
Excellent. Next, we're going to Finance and Personnel Committee. Alderman Frost.
Number 1 is an ordinance approving a lien reduction request from Z Financial to release liens on various properties incurred from 1987 to 2017 in the total amount of $15,495.50 upon payment in full of $10,000. Number 2 is an ordinance approving a memorandum of agreement with ASME Local 1058 regarding financial incentives to telecommunicators. Number 3 is an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement between the city and Rockford Housing Authority, an amount to be determined per weatherized scattered site unit. The agreement does not require a cost match. The agreement term is from the date of the execution with potential 1-year extension. Place these 2 matters before you.
Council, 3 items before you. Any discussion on those 3 items? Clerk, please call the roll.
Turkey,
Aye.
Boatman,
Aye.
Hubert,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Serena,
Aye.
Prunty,
No on 1, I on 2 and 3.
Brennan,
Aye.
Salgado,
Aye.
Meeks,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye on 1 and 2, no on 3.
and 1 9 ayes, 1 no, and 2 ayes, and 3 9 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Okay. We are going back to Roman numeral 7, unfinished business, and going to B, Code and Regulation Committee. That item has been amended to reflect, correct me, Alderwoman Trina, I believe it's $5,625 for relocation assistance. That has already approved. We now have 1 item before us, and Alderman Frost's motion was motion to use up to $200,000 of casino funds to assist in. You are an attorney. It was an attorney or doctor's handwriting. Qualified relocation funds. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And I apologize. Did we have a second on his motion? Okay. We have 1 motion up before you. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
We have a second on that motion. So council, we have 1 item before you, Alderman Thunberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that we all here on council have that a sense of sympathy for this situation. You know, I think with the casino funds, and we talk about economic development, various ways that we use this funding. I think this area here, you know, could be considered economic development in a floodplain. It's going to be used for a different purpose, but in regards to being sympathetic to the situations, I think it's a unique situation in the sense that this is a property that is owned by a private entity, an individual in this case, but these manufactured homes are very unique in the situation in that they don't own the land, but they own the dwelling that they're living in. So, you know, I think in good condition, I don't know, I just heard 20,000. I've heard other numbers at much less than that, if they're in good condition. But if they're not in so good condition, yes, that I've heard that it's just not possible to move these units. So I know that we frequently on council floor we have money coming through this chamber via grants most of the time that we're giving low-income utility assistance, low-income rental assistance on a very regular basis. These individuals are individuals who have worked and are you know, just in a unique situation, like I said, owning their dwelling, but not the property it sits on. So these are individuals that have worked hard to where they've gotten, and feeling like they've had the rug pulled out from under them. I would feel comfortable as a city. I know that this is a process that is being taken through the legal channels. And yes, I can feel sympathetic to an owner who thinks, you know, I can't sell my property that I want to sell. I mean, there is a basis to that. At the same time, these owners of these units, these manufactured homes, I think are in a very precarious situation. So I would feel comfortable in looking at using some of our casino dollars in the form of economic development for this property and going to these individuals. I think it would probably total, correct me, around 11.5.
Just over 12 when I did the math.
I think that would assist in moving some of these units if they are movable. If they are not movable, that there possibly is some other of these manufactured home parks around the area that this would help in a nice down payment for another home. But nonetheless, however they decide to use those funds, I think this would immensely help those individuals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Torina.
Can we lay this over? The
whole thing can be laid over.
Not the whole thing, but I guess I'm like, because there's a lot of stipulations and things that we need to try and vet in this, because there's a lot of different situations here. Like, we have to make sure that people are not behind on rent. We need to make sure that some people don't. Some people own and some do not. There's a lot of, can we lay that over and discuss this piece later?
So, Director Hammer, what would be your suggestion? And Alderwoman Trina, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to make sure I get what I think you want done. Is there a way to move forward with the overarching item that included the amendment of the $5,625, lay over the amendment for up to $200,000 so that we could have some sort of process or defining even of what qualified means, that staff could come back to this body and say, this is what we came up with based on the input so that we could provide more assistance to these residents. Am I getting what you're?
Yeah, and I'm asking that because, again, there's two sides to every story. The other piece of this is that, yes, I believe that there's a total, maybe, I don't know what the number is, it's 35 or 40 families. Not all of those individuals will be taking the package. There are some individuals that have some deals set up to get apartments and mortgages and things like that, and we're holding up that process too by continuing to delay this item. So it's like, it's a lot of things at a standstill. So I'm just trying to see if we could get a decision made, so.
Thank you.
Because we just need to make one.
Director Hammond.
My recommendation
So with that being said, my understanding what you're saying is vote on the amended item B1. And I believe on the 13th we have committees, and we could shoot for having Alderman Frost's amendment come before that committee. And do I need Alderman Frost's approval to do that?
I would recommend we treat this as a petition, and
That's fine.
Is that okay? I want to make sure we're working on both of this. Okay, so we have one item before us, item B1. Is there any discussion on that one item? I did have other people who wanted to speak, but I had Alderwoman Prunty, Alderwoman Meeks, but I'm guessing it was on the amendment?
Yeah.
On the amendment, okay.
Yeah, mine
Is
was,
there-
to ask about what qualified minute.
Okay, all right. I just don't want to skip you over.
Yeah.
All right, so we have one item before us, and then we will come back on the 13th to have the second part of this discussion. So we have one item before us that has been amended up to $5,625. Is there any discussion on that one item? Clerk, could you please call the roll?
No.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Serena. Trustee. Granite.
No.
Salgado. Meeks.
Aye.
Bell.
No.
Sorry, is that
No.
7 ayes.
Thank you. So now we go forward to new business ordinances under code and regulation, item 16. So council, we have one item before us, item 16, that has been amended, and to which we will come back and add to it on the 13th. Is there any discussion on that one item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Church.
No.
Wilson.
No.
Stewart.
No.
So we voting on number.
Wait, so y'all are switching all these votes now. It's making me concerned. So I want to be clear. And votes are fine, however they want to vote. And maybe I'm doing it wrong. I want to make sure I'm doing it accurately. Item 16, which is the same item we just voted on, the RV and fifth wheel only community in R1 single-family residential zoning district at 2530, 2710, and 2720 South Main Street, which has been amended to include the $5,625. That is included in this item now. And we will also have the discussion on the 13th to add up to an additional $200,000 of casino funds towards qualified relocation, to which we need to determine, and we will on the 13th. I'm not asking you to change votes, I just want to make sure that whatever you voted is what you want on that item. Am I clear? Is that clear on what I'm doing? Is there any questions on what I am doing? I'm sorry to ask you questions while three have voted, so I'd need your permission to do that. No one opposed to that? Okay. Alderman Toomey.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I guess now it's my turn to be on the discombobulated list. So just for clarification.
Yep.
Mayor, so we are voting on this tonight, this, right now, this vote.
Yep.
Where three of us voted, that this is for the amendment that Alderwoman Torina has already passed, and now we're voting on that portion, that with, as amended.
Yes, sir. So you have that item, the special use permit and plan
Right.
unit development, plus Alderwoman Trina's amendment that brings that relocation up to $5,625.
Okay.
So that is all now before us, and we will also have a discussion on the 13th
Right.
about the 200,000.
And we're not in any way voting on that amendment that was brought on by Alderman Frost right now.
We are not.
Okay.
It will make
So
that
I am-
amendment very difficult, by the way,
Right.
to have a discussion on
Correct.
if we don't vote.
So I would please change my vote to an aye.
Is there, let me ask, is there any objection to the three council members now with that clarification having the opportunity to change their vote? Is there any objection to that? Okay, sorry.
I was under the impression that this vote right now is a layover vote. It sounds like it's incorrect.
It is incorrect. This is a vote on that special use permit that includes the amendment that Alderwoman Trina made. Okay, do you want to start the roll again?
Who's on first?
Right, isn't the proper procedure just to send this back to committee? We're voting, we'll be approving the ordinance, so we already, then we'll have an approved ordinance. You're gonna send an approved ordinance back to committee? Because this
No,
vote
she's-
is approving the ordinance.
Director Hammer.
So, under Illinois law, we cannot tie funding to a zoning condition of approval. So Alderman Frost's motion to consider $200,000 from casino funds and funding for eligible Alderman relocation costs would have to be a standalone item before the finance and personnel committee on July 13th. It's not proper to tie city funds to a zoning approval for special use permit.
Fortunately, confusion is only a state of mind. I vote no.
Logan.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Frost.
Aye.
Serena. Aye. Prunty. Aye. Grant. No. Soldado.
Aye.
Meeks. Aye. Bell.
No.
Aye.
8 ayes, 3 noes.
Motion to adjourn?
So, at this time, I'm very excited to offer all of you, is there a motion out there to adjourn?
So.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, have a great night.
Another pay. You'll get a double pay.